What's going on, everybody? I am Septilence. I have the honor of welcoming you to the Collegiate Esport Commissioners Cup here in Atlanta, Georgia. All right, that was good. That was good. Good content, good content.
Week number 7 of the ECCC highlights is finally here, and this is, I know you're gonna watch me like, whoa, why does ECC every week is a banger, but this one is so real. There are some really impressive plays, some kind of like one in a million moments that I have never seen before that I'm really eager to show you guys and share with you, so let's jump right into it. Oh, also, I guess I'm Septilence. You probably know that by now, but it's always nice to introduce myself. All right, let's get to the clips. Now, clip number 8 to kick things off might not be flashy, but by golly, is it impressive. CSUMB guaranteeing themselves their 4th and final win to 4-0, the powerhouse team known as UNCG Gold.
From Greensboro, final seconds ticking away. Here comes Garrett's. They're trying maybe to walk away with one more missed contact.
Brutal.
Oh my goodness, insult to injury at this point in time. As the all zeros are on the clock, he gets another one, and Monterey Bay do it again. They pull off the sweep over Greensboro.
Clip number 7 of this week might be the fastest 0 to 100 clip we've seen in quite a while. Ashton, from the side of SVSU, just barely clutches out a victory for his team to start things off a little bit better on Icebox.
Weapons utility, here's the flank from the Viper, and only good for one, but has distracted enough.
The one, the timing is there for Ashton, and he salvages the round, reclaims control for SVSU.
The Joker versus Game & Watch matchup is definitely a weird one, but Pato from Iona University certainly does not crack under the pressure.
Nice. Ooh, almost gets the berry from that. That could have been a kill. Alright, so funny enough. Oh, what a chase! Oh my god, that was deep.
Fisher versus Ball State Black, two very strong teams in the world of collegiate Overwatch, and we even get to see Ninja Curly Fry and Depresso on that Sojourn. They both pop their overclock, and unfortunately, one of them finds a little bit more success than the other.
The beat is going to keep them safe as they are knocked back towards their team. Depresso, though, coming up clean with headshot after headshot. And as Ninja Curly pops their overclock, guess what? Nikon answers with a beat in kind, and now Depresso using their overclock. Unbelievable, too! They're looking for the third one, but Neb's going to take it from them, and it's going to be Mean98 once again on the payload. It's a tale as old as time, though.
For our 4th place slot, our technical honorable mention, it's going to be Neon from the side of Stevenson playing, well, Neon. They have that overdrive already online, that ultimate prepared, and even without using it, they already farm half of another one.
Really sorry, Oath. You're not going to enjoy what happens next. Yeah, that's a 3K. Neon looking for a 4th and is able to catch it. A flawless on the save.
Now this clip is one for the ages. The game just starting off, CSUMB loses ball control and the casters, they love the new name change before they can even focus on the game itself. Somebody's already put that ball in goal. It's truly a blink and you miss it moment.
Is making a joke, right? Making a joke on our expense based on what we think
my
of him.
goodness,
Oh,
Calflick.
Wow. Okay. Calflick, everything in a bag of chips on this one. 71 miles an hour is breaking almost every speed limit in the United States of America, right?
But yeah, that was just...
In our second medal spot of the week, it's going to be a huge play from Ball State's Roadhog player Spencer. Gets caught in the ship above second point Gibraltar, but the other team will very quickly learn he was not trapped in there with them. They were trapped in there with him.
To the next checkpoint, and Spencer narrowly managing to stay alive, gets a hook on Diva, and the whole hog is going out. Spencer getting a kill on him, double kill, triple kill on a Trader's mech, and Trader's as well, triple kill with the face mist.
And in our number 1 highlight spot of the week is a play absolutely incredible from RPI. If you've ever heard me personally cast Valorant, I always talk about the importance of trigger discipline. I could not think of a better example than this.
Backside's there. The crosshair was waiting, but Spec wins out the duel against Moses. It's just Mantigo. Nobody spotted him. A chance for 3. Denies the spike. Headshot on the next. It's a 1v1 here.
Onus on the Sky to make the play. There's the Seeker to distract. Beck swings out, but it's a 4K for the KO.
And now, I must shed a tear, because Week 7 is over. It comes and goes so quickly, but at least we've got some more weeks to look forward to, and the entirety of the spring is just around the corner, so, you know, we're done, but we're not fully done, you know what I mean? It's always a pleasure to be here, folks. Still, Septilins, please follow ECAC on all of their main channels, because it is always, you never know what's coming next over there. Thank you so much for watching. Check your posture, drink some water, don't forget to love each other, and I'll see you next week.
I really think that there's been a sorely missed opportunity for developers to take a step back from competition.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the CECC Last Chance Qualifier. Firstly, thank you so much for your patience. Our production crew had some crazy technological something, but hopefully they've got it all figured out. And while we're fully above the table, Maryville and St. Thomas did play out. This has happened. Now we are going to go into a replay. We don't know who the winner is. You obviously don't know who the winner is, so we're going to go into this replay. Things might look a little different, but we wanted to make sure you got this first map 3 of the LCQ. I am Septilins, joined by Twin Salty. And Salty, going into map 3, you know, St. Thomas just one push by kind of a lot, and they're definitely coming into what map 3 will be Arctic Peninsula on a bit of an upswing.
Yeah, definitely feeling themselves a little bit more going into this map, but with it being Peninsula, it's not a map that people practice a lot. I don't think it's a map that we've seen on any stream a lot because a lot of teams don't want to pick it. So maybe that's where Maryville is coming from, as like, hey, you know, teams normally don't go to this, so why not try and go to it ourselves? And we go into the first zone, and both teams now going into this poor man's rush.
Yeah, and we talk about this often see more in Valorant, you still see a circumstance in which a team picks a newer map because their opponent might not have a critical understanding on it the way they do maps that have been around for a little while. We're gonna have to see if that's true here. Maryville versus St. Thomas, and already we see Falls getting that point control, trying to create space where St. Thomas can't collapse in on top of them. Tiny Overwatch is gonna begin. Annihilation form has to come out early, Nemesis form, excuse me, and it's gonna clear out some space. Maryville does find first point cap, and that is actually devastating against St. Thomas because the longer this fight goes, the harder it works against them.
Yeah, especially when you lock down this point, it is so hard to try and push back into because there's so much space you can move around, but Dane Twist doesn't seem to matter too much to them, able to find that first pick.
First pick online here is going to be Ship Lee going down. Falls able to find one elimination before giving their life to Abstract. Deep into the back line, Luca gets an elim, falls to 123 HP, and oh! Cyrus takes a fist to the face there, goes down in a pretty aggressive manner, but St. Thomas flipping things a lot sooner than I expected. Only 23% online for Maryville.
Yeah, it didn't take too long. They're able to find Chicken Doge very early, and at that point, you're just able to pick them off one by one. And now you can truly settle in as, you know, the distance between spawn and the actual point in this map is crazy. It's baffling to me that it is that long, but it makes these fights so much more important.
Yeah, and, you know, I always talk about the fact that I feel like this was actually made for PvE, and then they're like, well, how do we get it into the game? Let's make it a control point, because it certainly is the most unique control map in the entire game. All 3 stages of Arctic Peninsula truly are very unique in their own right. With this Annihilation form coming online from Luca, I suspect an early pop, especially as that cryo comes to a close, but instead, okay, weird time to pop it, but hey, you got it done. Cac will pick up Dan, removing that player from the equation, and Luca can barely stay alive as well. Double Blizzard, full-blown Venn diagram, and it's getting cold here down in the Antarctic Peninsula. Nobody will fall to that Blizzard, but a beat drop from Noctis gives the team a little bit of new music to dance to. 60% online for St. Thomas. Ship is going to be able to find Abstract, and looks like Ship ready to carry this team around the iceberg this time instead of sinking to it.
Yeah, it takes a little bit longer than expected, but they're able to flip it around. They throw their Blizzard and actually hits the wall, so it doesn't go as far as they would have liked it to go, but still able to find the kills later on due to that overshield health from the sound barrier. And now St. Thomas need to try and find a way back into this. They use a lot to try and at least stall that out. And granted, they get another, 10 or 15% out of it, but now the issue is you have to retake that point with only the Deadeye available.
Elim the Jedi available. Not a circumstance you want to be in. Dan Twist looking for at least one Elim. Oh, but the timing there from False was incredible. Kept themselves around the architecture, made it impossible for that high noon to get the finishing blow. Annihilation from False, refreshing those Ramatra shields, trying to keep them alive, and it looks like it's working as the supports of Maryville are able to keep them up notably longer than we expected. The block there, what is it, 90% damage reduction or something crazy like that. Keeps False up even longer, long enough for Dan Twist to fall down. Another elimination comes through. Luca falls and Abstract not far behind. St. Thomas keeping it wildly close, but Maryville now 25 seconds away from winning stage 1 of the final map of this matchup.
And it'll be a late swap as well. Dan Twist onto the Hanzo, which you're going big here, trying to find those opening picks. You knew it may not help you as much during the mid-fight with the shield break or with the magnetic grenade, but you were banking on the fact that you can try and find a nice little headshot to open up this fight to give yourself the advantage, knowing the ults are not as much in your favor.
Dan Twist finds Ship, but the garage doors open up face to face. Cat God missing, Chicken Doge down, and St. Thomas skin to their teeth here. Overwatch factor at its finest in the final fight. They will swing back to life and take it possibly 99-99. If Maryville can answer back fast enough, Cyrus will make it out back to the party, as St. Thomas does not want to cost that overextension.
Yeah, I don't mind them going for that, but at least you're able to realize, like, hey, no, we just can't end into this. You know, we need to win this last fight. You have the Blizzard available here for St. Thomas, so if you could try and pop it early, right before Shipley is able to build it up, you might be able to catch Maryville off guard, but I have a feeling Maryville know exactly what's coming, and that's why they're taking a little bit extra time.
A little bit of extra time here. A Blizzard from Abstract Shipley as well. A Venn diagram comes to fruition and nobody gets frozen for it. Beat drop from Noctis gives St. Thomas a huge spawn advantage here, or a health advantage rather. Twitch TV's Luca, first one to bite the bullet though. Annihilation in the danger of that purple hug strikes once again. A late beat drop from Chicken Doge will flip this fight in a pivotal, arguably the pivotal moment to strike, and Maryville will walk away with stage number 1 of Antarctic Peninsula halfway done with their goal of getting to that first bracket final.
And it was not easy by any means. I think it's probably the closest map we've had, as St. Thomas definitely dominated on push just a little bit more. Maryville took over on circuit. So far, St. Thomas definitely at least pushing them around here, but Maryville feeling good on their map pick. And now we go to round number 2 here in the Peninsula, and not a lot will change. A little bit more long range than the previous, so I don't mind the Hanzos here actually as much, because you do have a little more sight lines and a little bit safer areas to try and sit back.
Yeah, you want to get that sit back early, and I feel like I haven't seen a lot of casts. Now, don't get me wrong, my rank is like Diamond and Masters. I'm probably notably lower than the players we're seeing right now, but Cassidy has been pretty popular here. But like you said, going for the Hanzo's a lot longer range. You can get those logs a lot earlier, and of course, May, a bit of a May stay in the meta right now. She's definitely making her way into the forefront, and I love that. She's one of my favorite characters in the game, so seeing her make some value is awesome. I'm also excited to see Luca on the Rhine here. This is the definition of feast or famine, risk or reward, and with a May on the other side, it can be incredibly detrimental if this Ryan gets boxed out from his team. Unfortunately, it wasn't the Ryan we needed to worry about. Dan Twist is the one to go down fast.
Yeah, able to find that opening pick from Cat God, and it is traded out though. Cyrus is gone, so a lot of the main healing gone now from Maryville. They will try and end this quick, but instead they will have to reset, even though Abstract, they just get left in the middle of nowhere.
Abstract left out to dry, and St. Thomas will lose that first fight. Maryville University coming out on top, and they're only 100 seconds away from being able to say they have made it to Bracket 1 Finals for a chance at that shot to Texas. They'll only have to take down 2 more teams once they get there, but St. Thomas has to bite that final bullet first.
Yes, they got to push them out of the way, and so far able to do that decently well. Cat got a major ultimate advantage, 60% difference between them and Dan Twist, and they will be able to launch this Dragon Strike extremely early here to try and split off anybody, and I don't think St. Thomas even see it coming.
I don't think St. Thomas really knows what's about to hit them in a moment like this. The shatter out from Luca finds a couple of eliminations there, and it looks like it might be enough to get the wheels turning once again. Members only will fall to Cat God and that dangerous arrow once again. Maryville University, it's not even a fully lost fight quite yet, Salty. And that's part of the reason this team is so scary, because you can take down somebody as pivotal as their tank, and they don't pull a punch for a moment.
Because they were able to take out members only, so they have to play really safe. Luca isn't able to get healed up. They're still only at half health, and now Maryville, with the respawns coming in, can now reaggress.
Pre-aggression is the name of the game right now, and St. Thomas losing that amplification matrix. Sorry, using the amplification matrix because they lost the immortality field. Dan Twist caught out by a stray shot from CAC. The beat drop from Chicken Doge is the green light they need to storm through this team once again. 50% on the board for Maryville, 11 for St. Thomas, who have thrown it all at the wall, and unfortunately none of it has stuck up to this moment. Can they answer back soon enough, or will Maryville secure that spot in that final matchup?
I think it's leaning more and more to the Saints being able to steal this because they have the Annihilation, they have this Blizzard. Yes, Abstract might be able to build it up, but Noctis can only deal with one of these ults at a time. And
right.
Especially the way that False has been able to use these Annihilations very aggressively just to hold space could be an issue.
Blizzard comes out, Noctis goes down, members only not far behind with only 20 seconds left. St. Thomas needs to fully disengage from this combat and pray that they've got enough time to touch because we've gone from 20 already down to 10 seconds, and I'm not sure anybody can make it there fast enough, even Noctis. And if they do, they've got to drop that beat to stall.
Yes, it will. Noctis is in a position to touch, but as you said, there's nobody to really help follow it up.
Right.
And now it has to be Luca, who is swapped over to the Doomfist to touch. But now, again, Maryville still has so many ults, and Noctis can only use that Sunbearer to help so many people.
Maryville has so much to work with. The Dragons are silent, but it looks like Luca won't be. Cyrus has gone down, and St. Thomas in the final moment looking for a chance to not only survive, but to thrive. Removing that or Baptiste from the equation has made it a little bit easier. Falls. Nobody to heal them or speed them out. They go down as well, and St. Thomas has all the cards on their side right now. Shipley falls to that headshot. I'm looking to CAC here to be the hero, to get an early pick, and to give Maryville a numbers advantage going into the next fight, but unfortunately, it's about making it out alive. It's about holding W, and it's about winning just one more fight.
Yeah, you gotta take it one fight at a time now here if you're St. Thomas. And Maryville, yes, you have the Annihilation. You're at least able to hold on to that. But nothing else really comes from it. Cyrus will actually swap onto the Ana as well as a response to the Doomfist being in place. So Luca now will have to be a little bit more careful with these engages, with the Bionade, with the Sleep as well.
The Sleep and the Bionade could be disastrous against Luca. Like you said, they're really going to have to count their cards carefully here. Annihilation still online for False. The Blizzard, he sneaks out, runs back in. Confidence is key in a circumstance like that. Uses that Nemesis form to really create some space. Cryo offline. The Dragons are nothing to an angry robot like Ramatra. Two have already gone down on the side of St. Thomas and Maryville University. 5v3, make that 5v2. Let's make it a 5v1, maybe a 5v none, as every member of St. Thomas has gone down in this moment, including Luca. St. Thomas, unfortunately, not able to make it out, and that is going to be Maryville securing their spot in the Bracket 1 finals.
Yes, and St. Thomas, I will say, you pushed them. I will say that you pushed them more than anybody has as of late, but they do fall here in the Bracket 1 semis, so GG's to them. They will not be in Arlington for CECC Arlington, but hey, I will say they gave him a good show, and I think Maryville now at least got put on notice, like, hey, this will not be a walk. Even though, yes, you play Rutgers B in the next game, which I think arguably will be a slightly easier game, but all of a sudden, it turns into a best-of-5. They have film on you now, and whoever comes out from Bracket 2 will have even more film on you at that point.
Yeah.
So it could become a little bit more of an issue later on tomorrow.
Yeah, so later on tomorrow, we will be seeing Rutgers versus Maryville in those finals. But moving on later today, we're jumping over to our second bracket, which is going to be starting hopefully at 10:45. All tech issues and teams given. But we will see you right back here in just a bit with more CECC Last Chance Qualifier.
Take a step forward with community. And if they do that, I think we all win. Because community, I would argue, is the one thing that no one's trying to solve. We're trying to solve recruitment. We're trying to solve competition. Tell me, where's community? Honestly, any one of you, go ahead. Shout out what's the national community for Scholastic right now. Any title, tell me.
Yeah.
Where do I go? How do I meet and hang out?
Of the storm, community 0.
There's nothing. It doesn't exist anymore. And it doesn't exist statewide. It doesn't exist school-wide. It doesn't exist region-wide. It doesn't exist nationally. It doesn't exist digitally on Twitch. It doesn't exist digitally on Discord. It doesn't exist through any form of skill-based development. It doesn't exist on any form of, skill-based learning or just pure socialization and fandom. Huge missed opportunity. You want to take their time and make it more efficient. In my opinion, tell Riot Scholastic politely to stop what they're doing with competitive, and their integration with LCS should be, Twitch symposiums and summits and conversations and learning and all sorts of wonderful things, and promoting camps and educational learning activities and RSSA sponsored curriculum. That will move the needle. I don't see any of that.
So Chris, that was pretty much the last topic. You kind of wrapped it in a nice package called community. And I was kind of thinking more from an organizer and a broadcaster point of view around growing fandom. And how do we get fandom around collegiate esports to look more like traditional sports across the board? And that helps us go out and sell sponsorships in the place, of which trickles down to all our member schools that we represent. But when we go to brands and we can't check that box of, 1 billion impressions and 1 million views, we still are challenged with selling those sponsorships. So my last and final is, do we have any secrets around how to grow fandom or grow community let's just start with on campus.
I got the big one real quick.
Okay.
Best way to grow community: food nights. It has nothing to do with playing the game. I'll give you a real life example. We used to do dollar burger night at the University of Cincinnati. We'd just go out to Bar Louie. We used to have dollar burgers every Wednesday. We'd post in at this time it was Facebook groups, tell people where to show up. 6 people, 12 people showed up the first week. By the third month, we had 40 plus people coming. And it was the biggest revenue night of the week for Bar Louie every week, purely because of us. But we had friendships, we had relationships, we had roommates, we had all sorts of great, wonderful things come from that. And that translated to our LANs, our club meetings, and everything from that. Mm-hmm. It was nothing beats food nights.
Just like pro sports, we need to focus on tribalism. And the way that you create tribalism is you have to prioritize in-person experience, in my opinion. I think that there's a lot of companies trying to become unicorn online platforms, but at the end of the day, I think we need pockets and hubs around the country that serve as regional and local hubs. Once you get a group of people together that share their love for the team that is on their campus, they start to develop a bond around that. You can do that online, but it won't be nearly as effective. Professional esports is having this tribalism problem because it's the majority of it's online. It's resulted in fans following players more so than the teams. I mean, that's a pretty broad topic, though. Like, we're starting to see those trends in traditional sports as well start to occur. People will follow LeBron and specific players on different teams to wherever they are. But I think for collegiate specifically, schools need to create meaningful live experiences. And if we're talking explicitly about fandom, you have to make the students on your campus care about the team first. That's the biggest thing. Either you create a level of pride through community engagement, or through the team itself. At a lot of schools, the groundwork is there for this. Like, there are schools like UBC, Ohio State, with Buckeye Gaming Collective that have clubs that number in the 2,000 to 3,000 range, right? So they have a base to begin with. At a school like Maryville, like, we kind of developed it the opposite way. When I came in and started building our esports program, we had 3 kids in our esports club. And so we've kind of built the team, and then the club has followed, which is kind of the opposite for a lot of schools. But I think that we have to develop tribalism, and that starts with meaningful live events. And the more that these events, the longer that these events continue to be like only online, the less effective it is in creating that final goal.
Agreed. Doc, you wrap it up for us, please.
I would just say this: clubs ebb and flow based on their leadership. But if all students, all clubs, all groups are given regular and meaningful invitations to come in, use the space, create what you want out of this, then it will continue to thrive despite the change in leadership. I can just imagine that that Cincy student group with Chris heavy in the leadership there just being amazing. But there's not always someone with his skill set at the helm. So you just need to be open and look for opportunities to serve, even though it can be more difficult, especially in the scheduling of the space. I know a lot of people that don't like anybody else but the players they're recruited to use their space. As much as we can, if we want to build community, we have to open the space to people that we wouldn't normally see in there and let them do the types of things that they want to do.
One more thing, so like on a national level though, if we want to raise the general viewership of all of collegiate esports and not just different pockets, that's a hard one because people watch esports to see people do stuff that they're better than them at, right? So naturally at the collegiate level, we're going to be at a lower level than pro. So it's hard to get people to watch for that reason. But what we can sell are narratives and storylines, matchup histories. And as we start to build a longer history of collegiate esports, I actually truly believe that some of the CLOL storylines are more rich than what exists in Academy and
100%.
And the LCS, but no one's really covering it. No one's really drilling down into it. No one's creating narrative content. So I think that that's the key to getting people to care about it. Like if there's a storyline, people attach themselves to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll add one more thing before we end. The largest organizations on any university campus. This is a very blanket statement. Could be wrong for you. It's right for many. Campus ministry and Greek life are always the largest groups on campus. Why? It's because of the concept of family. Let me explain. With a club or a program, many people identify, oh, I am a gamer, but I am also A, B, C. And usually it's I am A, B, C, and I'm also a gamer. Not everyone is a gamer first and foremost. And you're only going to capture that population if you're promoting purely competitive and purely esports. And so I said food nights and social activities. I'm really stealing from campus ministry and Greek life because what you want to do to build community at your school is to make it so that the thing that you're doing is the number one thing in the students' lives. Now that's a very selfish thing to say, but it's a true statement. For you to grow the largest community, your community needs to feel that the thing that they're a part of is the most important part of their social campus experience. That's why Greek life is so successful. That's why campus ministry is so successful. And when you treat esports as a program of just competition, practice, and development, that's an outlet. That's not a way of life. Not for at scale. Not when 55% of the campus body at a Division I school identifies as a gamer in some way, shape, or form. You're not going to touch that 55%. You're going to touch 5%, maybe. You're probably going to touch 0.05% or 0.5% at a Division I school. And so what you really need to do is build that community authentically by, as Doc said about Dan, what are the people prioritizing, and do that. And how do they enjoy their life? What would they find meaningful? Do that. And then do everything else, because the financials and everything else, the planning and all that matters too. And that's why we have a talent problem in Scholastic Esports. But I will wrap up and say for the national level, Dan's completely right on narrative. But I'm not worried about that, because the only thing we need to build community nationwide is just time. We are 2 generations away from critical mass. And all it takes is that the current generation of students to grow up, get in the professional workforce, and have kids and raise them on the things that they were fans of. It's how baseball grew. It's how basketball grew. It's how rugby and all those other sports grow and sustain.
Cornhole grew.
But in all seriousness, all we need is time. All we need to do is ensure that our products get better, our opportunities become more authentic, accessibility remains open, and monetization remains enough to us to continue to what we're doing and grow.
Hi, everyone. My name is Heather Garozzo, also known as Sapphire. I'm so excited to join you here today. This is an initiative that means a lot to me. I've been involved in esports now for a little more than I want to admit, but about 20 years in many different facets. And when I started, I was often the only woman in the room. There were no women competitions. There were no other women on co-ed teams or women's teams. And that obviously has changed drastically over the most recent couple of years. Initiatives like this are so meaningful to getting more women involved and giving them a stepping stone to join those tier 1 leagues, to join co-ed teams, mixed teams, and hopefully become the best in the world. So I came to join today to just tell you a little bit about my journey, hopefully inspire you, whether you want to go down the path of being a professional gamer or a content creator, or you want to work in the industry. There's so many different options, and I wanted to share a little bit about my story with you. So first off, I'm actually at Valorant Champions in Istanbul right now. The match is happening like just behind the door from me, so you might even hear some of the crowd noise going hype. The crowd is obviously cheering for Fnatic. Actually, I just heard a loud cheer right now, so something epic might have just happened. But so apologies if you hear that background noise, but it's all part of the vibe. It's all part of just being in esports, living and breathing esports. My journey actually started just as a player. I was a multi-sport varsity athlete in high school, tore my MCL, was out on an injury, and then I found esports. My brother would have his friends over, and I didn't want my brother to be better than me than anything, and I just started playing. And this was actually Counter-Strike. Valorant wasn't out at the time, of course. And turns out that I was pretty decent at it, and so started playing more and more and more. Found some teammates, traveled down to the CPL, which is like the top tournament at the time. Thought after winning a bunch of tournaments in the Milwaukee area that we would come in and do really well. Turns out we were terrible, and we finished dead last. Lost to a Finnish team that was one of the best in the world. But it only motivated me to be a better player. So I kept competing. Eventually, I made it on to some of the top teams. Both I was in co-ed teams, played in ESEA Invite, which is now the equivalent of ESL Pro League, and also played on some co-ed teams. Played with teammates like Miss Harvey, Potter, who is now the coach of Evil Geniuses, Alice Liu, that played with Complexity's Valorant team. Some of the things that I learned in my competing journey, it's not just about my physical skill in the game, not just how quick you could react to something, but communication, teamwork. These things are so important. At Valorant Champions right now, I get the opportunity to listen into the teams and listen to their communication. It's amazing how they refine their craft and refine how they communicate with their teammates. It's something so fascinating. So I encourage you, one of the things I like to tell up and coming players is record your team's comms and listen back. Did you give the right calls? Could you have done better calls? Those calls have been shorter and more precise? Those are some of the things I learned as a player. Throughout that playing journey, one of the highlights was in 2012 when I traveled to Paris and competed in the Esports World Cup, which was the top tournament for women at the time. And we came in and we won the World Championship, which was so exciting. It's so amazing to play in front of crowds of thousands of people. They were cheering against us because we were playing against a European team and we were an American team. But that feeling is just like unlike anything else when you can raise that trophy and they play the national anthem of your country. I hope many of you playing in this competition will get to experience some of that one day. It's truly an honor. Some of the other things besides besides competing and winning trophies, I played in 250 tournaments over the years. I believe that's the most for any woman. It's hard to keep track in the early days. But beyond competing, I work in the industry. So I'm the vice president at Dignitas. It's one of the oldest operating esports teams. We had for many years one of the top women's teams in the world. I also founded a women's initiative called Radiant and operate women's esports tournaments just like this. And I've realized how important that is. A lot of people will ask, why do the women need their own tournament? Why can't they just play with the guys? And my response back is, if you look at a game like Valorant, there's a reason why there are so many women competing in this game compared to other esports titles. It's because these women's initiatives exist, and they give women something to work towards, something to get started. It gives them a more safe environment, a harassment-free environment to kick off their careers. And I hope one day we don't need women's tournaments. That's the end goal, is because more women are competing and more women are going to start to shine in those tier 1 teams. My last point is, as I said, working in the industry, there's so many different job opportunities. You don't have to be the best player in the world. You don't have to be comfortable on camera and be a content creator. You can work in business side, marketing, advertising. You can work in PR. You can work even in the sciences. There's sports psychology jobs. There's team chefs. There's nutritionists. One of my positions is being an observer. Like I said, I'm at Valorant Champions right now. And, if you're dual monitoring and you're watching both this event and Valorant Champions at the same time, after this, I'm about to hop in and be the observer for XSET versus Fnatic, essentially an in-game director. There's a million different production jobs as well. But I just wanted to use this as an opportunity to hopefully inspire you to continue to pursue esports and gaming if that's something you love. And then my final comment is just a reminder that, you're going to be in games sometimes and people are going to say terrible things. I hope that ends someday, but just know that no matter what they say, you belong here. You deserve this. You deserve to play this game. You deserve to be in this competition. And I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait. I know there's going to be some superstars. I hope I see you one day at Valorant Champions kicking ass. Thank you so much for having me.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the ECAC Highlights, week number 8. It has been 8 weeks already, and hey, if you've been watching these on a bit of a binge, you like the new background, brand new first video it's going to be in. Super excited to jump into this with you guys. Of course, I'm Septilence, here to walk you through the highlights of week number 8 at the ECAC. We are kicking off strong with clip number 8 here, as it's going to be Tony Pajamas on the Ness, Fisher College and NYIT, two of the greatest Smash programs in the country, going head to head, just completely dominant on both sides. But Tony Pajamas got sick of waiting and wanted to give Fisher that leg up once again.
Dying to limit options, they'll push this final plan away, and they got back yet again, enough air yet again into the yo-yo, and they'll be caught by the forward air. Tony will take him down.
For clip number 7, we'll be joining CSI and Iona going head-to-head in game number 3. A full-blown best-of-7, both teams a 1 win already under their belts, and somebody needed to walk away with that second win. It's a 3-3 tie-up, less than a minute on the clock, and CSI in these final moments comes back to life to sneak out a game 3 win.
Staten Island, and it gets them tied up. The calculated moves here from both offenses, phenomenal. And that one, I mean, it's not exactly calculated. I mean, yeah, it's calculated, but it's not the prettiest to place the back wall touch there, Flater, but it works. And just like that, CSI's in the lead.
For clip number 6, we're jumping into the beautiful game known as Valorant. Stockton versus SUNY Poly, and Stockton constantly trying to keep that small lead they've held out. Their Jet in particular starts with a very rough round and actually turns it into quite the miracle run to secure them another round win on the side of Stockton.
And looking for the sales. And I think at the moment they've missed the holiday deal. Somnus will find another one. Coupons expired, pocket taken out yet again. That's the cart full of groceries taken down. And the 4K, a no scope to clean it up.
Now, anyone who knows me knows that I can be a little bit biased towards Overwatch and how exciting the game can be, but my good friend Big J over at Bethel really brings out a power play for clip number 5 here at the ECAC. And if you overextend with that Primal, it can cost your team a lot. Bethel is going to have 2 ultimates. Big J going to pop it early, it seems, and he's definitely going to try. It is huge as he puts down the Lucio and the Sojourn to boot. Kiriko not far behind, and Boise removed from this mortal coil. Do y'all remember clip number 7 of this week? CSI versus Iona. Both teams, 1 win already underneath their belts. Well, did anybody wonder how they got there? We're going to jump back into game number 1 and watch as CSI clutches out an incredible victory to start this series off.
2-2, a great demonstration of what both sides are capable of offensively. Is anyone back right now? I don't think so. That's game 1. CSI, take it.
All right, Bepik, okay, just 1 beat, more than enough for Mux to put that goal in. And Driftsy already ready to make sure it goes in. CSI off the game 1 comeback.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the CECC 2023 Last Chance Qualifier, brought to you by Esports U, CSMG, and of course, Zip Chair Gaming. Well, I couldn't fix my chair. We could fix our internet issues, and all of our technology is right back up and running. So we are jumping into yet another series here tonight. This one, the first of the second bracket.
Yes, so we are already in the second round here of the West bracket, or bracket 2, majority West teams.
Yeah.
And we got a pretty decent game on our hands. UTA versus UCSD Navy. UCSD Gold had to forfeit their second round.
Literally
game.
like a minute ago.
Yeah, so Washington make it to the top 8 as the 7th seed. They will more than likely play UH Premier, but we'll see how that game ends up going. But for this one, it's the 4 versus 5 seed game. I think this one, UCSD, they got a lot of extra supporters in that spectator slot. So I'm curious to see if that gives them any advantage.
We got to hear our production squad. Is this one also, they're all on the same team. We're putting everybody in the spectator box. It's very funny, but yeah, they're coming in with a heck ton of spectators, so we are super excited to be jumping into this. Our starting map is going to be Junkertown once again, as this is technically the same leg of the bracket, all things considered. And like you said, we're already going down to just a couple of teams. Whichever team wins here has to go on to then win the semi, to win their bracket finals, to then fight most likely Maryville in the actual shot for a ticket to Arlington. So there's a long road ahead of whichever team walks away victorious here in this first series of bracket 2.
Yeah, the winner of this will play Irvine, more than likely the number 1 overall seed. That would be quite the interesting game, I think, because UC Irvine's a very great team, but both these teams are pretty hot going into this. So I want to see, especially if a team wins 2-0 here in a dominant fashion, I give them a decent shot against Irvine.
Agreed.
But if not, I worry a little bit if it's a very close 2-1 game, because I think if you're Irvine, you're licking your lips at that point. Like, hey, if they're playing this so close, unless they're both ridiculously underseeded for this bracket, we should have it at least in a decent advantage.
Yeah, and I've got to say, my heart is being pulled in a couple of directions here, because I know UTA very well. They're a team I've been working with for a couple of years at this point, so I'm very familiar with their roster, with their team, and they've been doing very well this year recently. And then I just had the opportunity to meet UCSD Navy at the CECC Westland. Very nice team, a very great group of players, and a very talented squadron as well, especially for a secondary roster. They really did not fail to impress me when I saw them last at the CECC Westland. But going up against UTA, I mean, CECC is in Arlington. They're looking for that hometown hero slot.
Yes, they are wanting to get that hometown buff, trying to join UT Dallas as University of Texas schools at the tournament. And so far, we're looking at both of these rosters. Very similar looks. Not a huge surprise here on Junkertown with the BAPZ and Sigma. The difference being KO is on the Sojourn here for UCSD compared to Dez on that Hanzo that we've seen a little bit more of tonight.
said, Hanzo, we have seen a heck of a lot of here tonight, like you said, and I think that's not really going to be changing. As like you mentioned, has locked that in and is, I mean, quadruple sniper here across the board if you count the railgun. Without it, she can still hit you quite the distance. Open Widow's going to miss that trick shot early. All 10 members still standing, and as this opening fight comes to fruition, Salty, the first elim, I mean, as it always is going to be pivotal.
Yeah, especially if you're able to lock down one of the opposing snipers, because then you have less sidelines you need to worry about, and it gives your snipers so much more of an advantage as both these teams just trying to play for the side ground. Not too much going on quite yet, other than a little bit of posturing.
Posturing is a dangerous game, but nobody wants to be the first to make that mistake, because the first to make that mistake is often the first to lose a circumstance just like this. Moosh wants to be held, but can't get close enough to not get held by that accretion. Able to shield his way through it. That gravitic hand is going to keep him up and running. And I mean, this, we still haven't seen an elimination.
Yeah, it's a minute into this game. Nobody has died. Not a ton of ult charge around. Shing is 75% too, but that's really about it. Everybody's kind of just taking a little damage, healing, backing up, as this cart's already halfway through first phase.
The cart being halfway through first phase is a scary spot to be in, and Andrew will unfortunately have the displeasure of being the first elimination here in this matchup on Junkertown. Kai hits that railgun, removes the Widow, and like dominoes, the rest of the team will begin to fall. All of a sudden, San Diego coming to life here and giving themselves a very real possibility of a first point advantage.
Yes, I don't see UTA being able to actually contest this in time because of how late that first fight went. Yeah, as you said, it took over a minute for anybody to die. And at that point, the cart was already a good 60 meters through. So, yeah, you see San Diego Navy able to take this first phase, but they do lose Kim in the process of. So, can't really take the high ground like they would like. Instead, just kind of have to ride around that cart just for a little bit longer.
4.5 minutes on the board for Arlington to slow anything down, but San Diego, they've been playing what we've seen a lot of today, an incredibly patient game. And patience isn't something we often see in a game like Overwatch. It's always been quite the opposite of rush down, delete your opponent before they can really start anything, and then kind of take the fight win that way. But it's been a really fascinating day, just kind of as an observer, to get the chance to look at this new play style that really seems to be coming to fruition.
Yeah, it's so much more patient. You're almost waiting for the opposite team to make a mistake or try and force one yourself, but it's very, dangerous, especially on the defense because, this cart continues to move already 30 meters gone. And at this point, you haven't really had that big of a fight, but for the offense, it's more time off the clock. And if you don't win these fights, it's limiting the amount of fights you actually have.
Tornado Lord and Dez will fall to San Diego, and in particular, Kai has been doing a phenomenal job just making that space and giving San Diego the picks they needed, right? Taking the Widow offline, taking the Zen offline. This has just been the Kai show all day long. Kai's been the guy this team needs to get success, and as they round that final corner and get ready for a second-point cap, Arlington really has to change something because they're getting walked on right now.
Yeah, they haven't been able to really do anything, and will they contest this? They will. It'll be the Dragons that go through. Transcendence is actually forced out as well from Jupiter.
Transcendence forced out from Jupiter is going to be the opener for Moosh to try to bring somebody a little closer to hold, and unfortunately they're all going to decide to go to the spawn room instead of into the warm welcome arms of that Sigma. 4.5 minutes for San Diego up and standing, and Arlington not really outstanding quite yet. I mean, I'm still waiting for something to happen from them, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I don't think they have many eliminations. I think maybe 2 or 3. Well, Andrew's able to get
now.
1 to start off, so Andrew at least starting to get this back in their favor, but a lot of pressure is on him to get these shots going their way as, if the snipers of UCSD can continue the momentum they've had, it's really tough for anybody for UTA to actually get anything done.
I'm going to go ahead and take a look here really quick. It doesn't update till the end of the map. Bummer. Okay, I was going to see how many eliminations this team had, but unfortunately that is not information I have at the moment. Tornado Lord is able to find the elimination onto Denial, removing a lot of damage from the side of San Diego. That Discord orb being offline makes it harder for San Diego to confidently, as confident as they have in regard to just walk forward and find those eliminations. Disruptor field from Kai forces off the high ground. And I mean, I've got to say, I think the worst part about this, Salty, isn't the fact they're not getting elims. It's the fact the cart has not stopped moving.
Yes, it just continues to go around the bend, and yes, you continue to have this high ground control, but are struggling to do much with it as AMP is used. UCSD is just going to back up, realizing, hey, we don't really need to push into this, and we'll just wait for that to go away, and Kayona will just try and take back high ground. Everybody dropped.
Andrew Andrew is going to be able to find Kim. I think that's Kim's first death, actually, for Andrew, the only person on Arlington to really pick up some eliminations so far. Creates the space, gets the sights online. Kai being boxed out. A railgun in the pocket, though, could do a lot of damage if they play their cards right, and a lot of damage they certainly did. Overclock from the heavens is completely negated there. Dez gets the headshot, and Kai will die in a very important moment. However, I mean, let's go back to what I talked about a moment ago. The cart's still moving until just a second ago. No, sorry, there it goes again.
Yes, they're just continuing to move this forward. They have their Gravitic Flux. Denial's getting close to another Transcendence as well, and Tomato Lord and Jupiter a little bit far behind, so it made us leave the door open just long enough for Navy to try and take advantage.
Navy trying to take advantage of a very important moment here. The Widowmaker has been relatively silent on the side of Navy. Maybe that's a weak spot for Arlington to exploit. However, Amplification Matrix now online for Kim there on the low ground. Goes in for the shield, tries to get the value, and Moosh could find quite the Gravitic Flux, or at least the force of a Transcendence, if they can continue this natural barrage of damage. 2 going to go up, the Flux is going to keep them safe, and oh, now, I mean, you've kind of wasted both the Flux and the Transcendence. Jupiter not able to get any additional healing. Transcendence is going to be alive from Denial as Gravitic Flux comes out from Tomato Lord. 1-for-1 trade, Jupiter falling, that Zenyatta being offline could be critical against the University of Texas Arlington. They need that Discord Orb, they need that additional healing, and they need that Transcendence charge, or things just like that is going to happen. Andrew falls to Denial, and with 90 seconds left, can San Diego Navy be our first on-stream team to finally cap all 3 points?
It's seeming more and more likely as Denial is just denying anybody from UTA from getting close to this point. They're on the flank, they're able to find a few, and I think we will finally see the end of a map.
Yo, we did it! Celebratory horn there. We made it to the very end. And I'll tell you what, Denial, not just a river in Egypt. One hell of a Zenyatta player from what we've been seeing so far, making incredible waves in this program and getting through these opportunities. Like you said, on the flank, has the healing, has the Discords, not missing shots, which is often the most difficult part on playing Zenyatta, is hitting your darn shots, which Denial has been able to do very impressively so far. I think a huge part of the reason San Diego Navy finds that success early.
And just staying alive, like that is part of the big thing for them as well, is hey, make sure you stay alive. That Discord Orb is still working as it needs to, and the rest of your team, even if you're not the one inputting that damage, the rest of the team is able to follow up. It seemed like Moosh and Kai were both always on the dot with those Discord Orbs, and especially on a Tomato Lord, they just seem to get burned down because he was always on them. And the Mavericks, it's going to be a little bit of a rough push here, as a minute 18 isn't horrible. You're able to come back from it, but it can be a little tricky to try and actually fix that. I think we actually need to fix a spectator change, as somebody joined late from UCSD. I think they had a crash during game, so I'll come back to us just for a minute, because we obviously don't want UCSD to be able to see ult charge from UTA. So yeah, it's based. So UTA, they're struggling a little bit. Because as you said, Andrew, oddly quiet. Dez, other than that beautiful headshot during the overclock, oddly quiet. And for these two DPS who are normally the front of the show, it's a little weird start here for the Mavericks.
A little bit. UTA, as I kind of complimented them way back at the beginning of the series, has been a pretty impactful team in several other collegiate organizations across the board, across the country. And right now they're falling pretty silently. San Diego Navy, as I mentioned at the beginning as well, just because they're a JV team, and I hate to use the phrase JV, maybe they don't like that team, just because they are a secondary roster, you hardly see it. Like, they are a very strong, very talented team, and going toe-to-toe with a squad like UTA right now, I would say, what's above toe-to-toe? Like accomplishing a 3-point cap over UTA really goes to show the progress and the value this team has been able to make.
It seems like these secondary teams have a history here, because, Rutgers' secondary team as well is able to slide in the top 4. Granted, that's also with a Northwood forfeit mixed in there, but, they're still there, and that's all that matters. And now UCSD Navy will try and bring that underdog story to life here in the second bracket, as UTA, well, they'll run the same thing here. They know what's meta. Even if it didn't work as much as they would have liked during their defense, they're just going to try and run it back. And same thing with UCSD Navy. Why change anything when it worked so well?
Yeah, if it ain't broke, certainly no need to fix it. Guys, I'm on Doom from not a tank player. But going into this, Arlington and San Diego Navy, they're having a good time. And, there's part of me that's like, hey, that's arguably more important than coming in here and trying to win. You got to have fun doing what we do, because if you force yourself to play a game you hate, well, you're going to have a bad time. And right now, San Diego Navy feeling pretty good, having a good time for the time being. Arlington really need to impress us here on this offense, Salty, or map 1 can be one and done.
Yeah, it could be a very quick map 1 if they are not able to, as they at least gain control here. of the high ground, but it will be Moose actually pushing it right away and forcing Dez off.
Forcing Dez off there is going to be a pretty large moment, just kind of creating that space and making it a little harder for San Diego Navy, or sorry, for Arlington to create that proper space. Double accretion finds both Sigmas, and they both walk away to tell the tale. Tomato Lord, a little too close for comfort from my opinion, but you're still alive, and that's more important. A bullet to the body catches Jupiter. Dez falls to that railgun as well, and once again, it's somebody on the side of Arlington that becomes that first blood. A minute off the clock, already halfway to first point, but if San Diego Navy can stop the bleeding here, we might not see the rest of Junkertown again.
Yeah, I think the chance of seeing the rest of Junkertown is, I don't know, not as great as I would like it to be, as, yeah, Moose able to find one, and Jupiter's just left all alone. They're on that right-hand side. The rest of the team has reset kind of towards the mega building, so minute and a half gone. UTA figuring out how they want to go at this. Andrew will actually go off of the Widow to match the Soj from Kai. So banking on the fact that, hey, maybe we can get a little more value there. Also with a little more shield break as well to help Tomato Lord in this front line.
More tactical offline for Kim. Should give Tomato Lord a bit of confidence in using this Flux. Yeah, just like that. Going to be able to pick up the Baptiste. Should be able to find the Elim as well. Up like a feather, down like a bag of rocks. Jupiter, though, is answered out. Hermetic Flux comes through, and it's going to be Tomato Lord who's the next to fall. Moose uses it more to create space than to find elims, but the eliminations come from the team's accuracy as well. Denial denies Andrew the chance to return to Spawn with their friends, and poor Dez caught out in that spawn room. 150 on the clock, less than half the time bank left standing. Is Navy going to give us that full hold?
It's starting to look like it. As they have Amp, they have the overclock as well as Infrasight soon to follow. They have all the tools they need, and this cart is only about halfway through this first phase. Even if they lose this, as long as they can test the cart, they could even get another fight after that if they play the cards right.
No one can hide.
Oh my goodness, a lot of patience here on both sides. I feel like today, like I mentioned earlier, it's just been a day of patience from both teams, every team truly, that we've seen today. An overclock from Kai. I love what we're seeing. They don't want to force an overextension with it. Instead, they want to hold it as kind of a trump card, if you will. They want to use it to get in an opportunity or open up a fight that possibly could be lost beforehand. Double elimination there against Arlington makes it harder for them to answer San Diego Navy, who's sitting on many ultimates right now. They're not even needing to use them because these eliminations continue to feather in, and it feels like Arlington has not been able to stop the flow of damage against them.
Yeah, it just seems like they can't stop the bleeding, right? Like, they can't get together the solid 5 and get that opening pick. I'm pretty sure UCSD has got the first pick every single time during this push and almost every single time during their own push. So if they can get that opening pick, it's at least a step in the right direction, and that, well, that's a step backwards.
2 steps forward, 1 step back. Andrew will fall to that overclock, and unfortunately does not get a chance to use their own. Transcendence from Jupiter falls late, but the Amp Matrix tries to make up for that missing damage. Denial needs to get out of the way, and I don't love what I'm seeing there. Arlington, they move through the Amp Matrix, and they don't utilize it to its fullest potential. Unfortunately, the headshots on either side falling lackluster, and both these teams, 4th and 5th seed, desperate for a chance of moving forward. But San Diego Navy, they are 6 seconds away. They're officially 1 fight away from full holding Junkertown, and it looks like their odds are going to increase even more as Dez returns to that spawn room once more.
Yeah, just the kill's not going their way whatsoever. Yeah, nobody even touches. The overclock is used by Andrew at the dying moments, but UCSD Navy, well, that's the start you wanted, especially when your other team sadly has to FF out, but still carrying on the UCSD name,
The
well,
legacy.
they claim map 1.
Yeah, and we got to talk about, UCSD Gold. The fact that they have to forfeit right now is kind of huge. I referenced it at the beginning, but that's the team that came in 2nd place at the West Qualifier. Like, they were 1 map away, or sorry, 3 maps, I guess, 1 series away from being able to make it to Texas. They come to this qualifier, and way back at the beginning of the day, I was talking to you in Prod, and I said, listen, like, I think San Diego Gold has a very real chance of pulling this off, so to see them leave, the weight of the world is now on the shoulders of the Navy squadron to carry that name, to carry that legacy further.
Yes, and at least you have all the support in the world in that spectator box, as you said. It seems like the entire gold team is there to help carry that wave. But man, UTA, they got nothing going. Like, it just seemed like no matter what they tried, that poke comp was not working how they would have liked. And now at least the ball's in their court. They get to decide where we go for push. But man, it was just like, there's rough starts to a series, and then there's that. Like, I think that was probably the roughest start to a series we've seen, because even earlier, we saw Maryville play.
Yeah.
It was a little closer than that.
Well, that's the first full hold we've seen on a map
Yeah.
today. That's the first complete full hold. Now we did see that push 3-point cap to 6 meters. That was certainly pretty aggressive as well. But when it comes to the escort, that's the first time we've seen a team not make it past that first point threshold. So it definitely hits like hard today. We've seen a lot of teams come through, able to get through that, and unfortunately UTA falls short. They fall silent, and luckily it's only map 1. Downside, this is a best of 3 right now. So if you lose this next map, that we've got nothing left for you.
Yeah, you don't really have any wiggle room, right? And you're wanting to play at your home tournament, right? Like, this is in their backyard. They would have
Seriously.
fans in their favor, other than maybe the UT Dallas fans, who I know are always loud. But man, it just sucks for them. It's like, it was just probably one of the worst starts they could have had, because just nothing went their way. They're doing a lot of things right early on, and just for whatever reason, the puzzles are not sticking together like they should. So taking this, time in between maps, figuring out, hey, what went wrong and what did we actually do right? Because take the little bit that went right, try and fix those wrongs, give yourselves a chance over on control. But yeah, that was a rough start here for the Mavericks.
And there's something that I talk about a lot when I'm commentating Rocket League, but I think it really does apply in this circumstance, is when you lose game 1, it's not more so about, okay, we lost game 1. It's about, what did we learn in game 1 and how can we implement it in game number 2? What were the reasons we were able to go down so early? Now, if you're on the side of Arlington, I think the answer is pretty clear. You kept getting picked at the beginning of fights over and over and over and over. And I think we saw a full 5 at the beginning of their attack and then never again. I think it was continuously one of the DPS was in spawn, one of the supports got taken out, and that's not the circumstance you want to be in. So I think for UTA, flipping the script could be as easy and as simple as just paying 10% more attention to grouping up. Because right now, I don't know if it's stress or if it's panic, but I've seen UTA play notably better than that. I know they have more kind of in their arsenal, in their pocket, and I want them to have the chance to prove it. They've just got to prove it on their push map, and we still don't know what that push map is going to be quite yet. But I mean, this is in my opinion, one of the worst like map types to have the pick in, because you've got 3 chances. Now, bright side, it's the one we haven't seen yet. It's Coliseo, which makes me think we are seeing either a Reinhardt or a Doomfist going into this matchup.
I have a feeling it's the Rhine. I think there's a chance, though, for the Doomfist. I do think there is a small chance Tomato Lord pulls it out, but I think it's probably more the Rhine. Run the rush with the May, try and throw probably Andrew on the, probably Andrew on the Cassidy, I would think, and Dez onto the May, but I think it's at least a step in the right direction. Because again, it's not the poke. It's the same issue that St. Thomas had, right? Like St. Thomas was just not good at the poke. Like that is just not their best comp, but then you throw them on a different map, you can run a different meta, things can change. So hopefully for UTA, it's that similar fortune here, or it will be a very early exit here for the Mavericks. But I don't think a lot of people saw it to be in this kind of fashion this early on.
Yeah, and this is UTA. Actually, this is both squadrons' first matchup. They both had a bye in the opening round of the bracket, so this is their first true matchup. Kind of got to prove your weight's worth in gold in a circumstance like this, and unfortunately, it's just not working out well. But no other series has finished quite yet either, so we've got plenty of time. Map 3 exists for a reason, even though, yes, we've only seen it once today, but maybe there's a chance we see it for a second time.
Yeah, maybe we'll see it live this time. Hopefully technology works for us this time around. I don't know why. It just seems like technology is just not on production side tonight. And,
it is
not. At least player-wise, we've had no issues, which is, phenomenal. It seems like at least that land, we're in a good spot. But UT Dallas and UT Arlington instead, okay, I don't mind this. Tomato Lord is, was known for their Zarya for the longest time.
Right.
But I don't know if it's a great fit against a Doomfist. Granted, they don't know that quite yet.
Right.
But it could be an interesting play style here.
Yeah, so I had this kind of weird feeling in which I feel like the Zarya, like you mentioned, was for someone else, was not for a Doomfist on the opposing side. So let's see if they're going to be able to make it work. A little bit of patience from the Navy squadron right now, is they know focusing somebody is the name of the game, and Tomato Lord has to use both bubbles almost immediately back-to-back just to end that Bionate ability. Unfortunately, both bubbles were used. I think Navy knows that, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them close in on this Zarya now. Andrew, though, is going to be the first one to fall. Moose catches them by the wall. Dez gets punched out as well. Immortality Field down. Bionade catches it, picks them up, and puts Jupiter down, 6 feet down to be specific. Tomato Lord falls to that, what is that called? The Magnetic Nade, and now 2 more members fall. Arlington 8 meters on the board, and unless we see some changes, not sure they're going to get many more.
Yeah, I have a feeling they were thinking it would be a different comp for
Absolutely.
UCSD. I'm guessing they were assuming it would be like a Ramatra, because against the
Ram
Ramatra,
or
the
Rhine.
Zarya can definitely work, or the Rhine, one of the two, but definitely not the Doomfist pick that came up from Moosh. And Tomato Lord is just going to have a very rough time. They may just have to use, as you said, those bubbles more just to cleanse Nade than anything else, but you know that Xing is on the Kiriko, it may at least help that fact a little bit.
May help that fact just a bit, but can that little bit go the long way it needs? Kai has a high noon already? Okay, well, doesn't do much with it, if we're being honest. That's not a good spot to be in. Both DPS falling for the side of San Diego Navy, and while Arlington made no changes, this composition seems to be working a little bit better. Keeping Tomato Lord alive is absolutely priority in this moment. That's a very high charge Zarya, but keeping her alive doesn't mean you give your life for it. Moosh, full charge, extra punch online, looks for Jupiter and finds it. Luckily enough, you take down the fastest person, so Arlington losing that support is really not a big deal.
Yeah, it won't be a big deal. They may not take advantage of the staggers as much as they want, but hey, you're still able to pick up Kim, so able to take over the lead. And now for UCSD, you're in an okay spot. If you're UTA, you're in a great spot. You have the Kitsune Rush already when Xing just swapped to that the previous fight, so able to quickly build that up, and ults already going in their favor. And KO and Kai, yeah, just gonna go over back to the Sojin. Why not? It was working so well earlier. Why not try it?
If it ain't broke, right? I mean, that's a saying for a reason. If it ain't broke, there's certainly no need to fix it. Kai wants to bring it to the table for Navy as they do start to lose their grip just a bit here on Coliseo. Transcendence from Denial will keep the team up and running, but a Blizzard late from Dez, a really fascinating choice, but it is going to be able to find Kim, and already that makes it worthwhile, especially if that Soj goes down as well. Can we find a three-piece here with the help of Andrew? By golly, we can! The Doomfist punches them directly into the mini room, and I've got to say, forward spawn and advantage, this is the Arlington I wanted. This is why I was so hard on this team, because I know this is what they can do.
Yeah, all they needed was a map change and running a little bit of a different comp. I guess the Zarya now, once they're able to continue to keep this charge, is able to work as they punish Moosh that time around. They get aggressive, they use the grab, they force out the Transcendence, and they're able to use a Blizzard for free, but Dez now will have to try and be a little chill and spawn as Moosh is able to find them out, and Angie will soon be the follow.
That is not a circumstance you want to find yourself in, but it is the circumstance that Andrew appears to be in. Luckily enough, Kai will be traded out by Xing. The punch from Moosh creates a lot of space, and it feels like Moosh is doing a good job kind of keeping Chaos up and running, right? Making a lot of space, keeping the team kind of uncertain on where the Doomfist may be, but Moosh also hasn't been in the kill feed for a while. I believe that's Moosh's first elim since taking out Jupiter 2 fights ago. So it's really a late equation, and I'd like to see Moosh be a little more front-facing, so to speak. But right now, UT Arlington does finally lose that forward spawn. They haven't lost the lead, not even close to it yet. San Diego just now touching the 30-meter mark. Well, actually, not even yet.
Tomato Lord did not get close spawn, so that is why UTA playing a little more safe. They're waiting for their tank to get back into the equation. As you said, Meteor Strike ready to go. Nano as well, if they want to chuck it onto him just to make sure they can stay alive just a little bit longer.
Just a little bit can go a really long way. And the Nano online from Kim. Is it a Nano overclock? Okay, looks like it's going to be a lot of value here as Dez will bite the bullet. Jupiter not far behind. UT Arlington losing their numbers. Tomato Lord taking down Kim is a critical elimination, but unfortunately it's a 3-for-1, and that's not a deal anybody wants to be on the wrong side of. Denial will fall, and Tomato Lord gets traded out for it. Andrew just hungry for that elimination.
It's like, might as well try and get an exit frag when, you know, it's like, I know I'm dead at that point. Might as well try and get something. Denial does have the Transcendence, as well as the Pulse Bomb ready for Navy. UTA really don't have a whole lot. They can use the grab to try and punish Moosh again, which is my guess on what they'll do, but other than that, unless they can build a Kitsune, maybe a little bit of a struggle here, but instead, they'll just take over bot. UCSD has to wait for those respawns to come in, so this bot will go back into at least around the main area.
Pulse Bomb is San Diego's win condition here in this engagement. Half the time bank already gone, only 4.5 minutes remain. I'm really keeping an eye on this Pulse because it's the only ultimate really online right now until this Transcendence and this Kitsune Rush come online to boot. Will it be an early commitment or will it instead be a bit of an overextension? Here comes Andrew, a bit of a bait there, I believe, trying to get a defensive ultimate out so we can use that Death Blossom into the next fight, but looks like he's not going to need it. Moosh will fall to Andrew. Dez gets a lucky headshot onto Kai, and UT Arlington once again taking the lead. That's that silent pulse bomb I was worried about a moment ago.
Yeah, just they try and pick somebody off so the effect of that fight won't be as bad, but instead catches nobody, so now they're kind of just hanging around this point. It will be Andrew trying to get back with Shing, as trying to use each other as a taxi service, but when the taxi service is pitting up to the station, Jupiter goes back to orbit.
Jupiter back to orbit here, and Mushi is going to be falling as well. Denial puts down Shing. This is arguably one of the sloppier engagements we've seen, both this fight and the one prior. And that's kind of why my commentary has changed a little bit, because people have continuously been kind of shaking it back and forth. It's no longer the clean fight wins we've been seeing all day today. It's a lot of scattered individual plays that have been making or breaking for these teams so far. I've noticed that when Moosh goes down, San Diego tends to lose. On the side of Arlington, it's lesser so. Losing one member hasn't been kind of that nail in the coffin against them quite yet, but with only a 16% meter differential right now, 16 meter differential, excuse me. This is a scary moment for Arlington. They need to win this fight, because not only does San Diego risk the threat of getting forward spawn, but they're on the threat of taking the lead if Arlington doesn't answer back fast enough. 4 ultimates in the pocket. They know where the supports are. Wow, Andrew down to 10 HP. Will be falling. The beat cannot find them fast enough. Transcendence comes out as well as a nano overclock, and it looks like the nano overclock can do enough damage to rip this team to shreds, even with that support ultimate online. UT Arlington losing this fight. I think this gives San Diego a very real chance of taking the lead here with only 2.5 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, Kai's just in the back and nobody sees it coming, and yes, they pay their life for it, but they are able to take control over this pick unless Andrew, Tomato Lord tries to touch, but no. They're just going to be on this wrecking ball, I think, for good now, which it's a bit of a funky pick. I think with the playstyle of the rest of the team, it may just be a little unorthodox, because the rest of your team wants to stay as a unit, and he's kind of just doing his own thing.
Great tech there from Tomato Lord getting in. I gotta talk about the fact that Tomato Lord is an incredible Wrecking Ball player. One of the first I saw in Collegiate that really had me think, wow, maybe this character's got some potential, and I'd love to see Tomato Lord bring that energy, channel that energy into the matchup here today. Unfortunately, Dez has other plans and boxes Tomato Lord completely out of what would have been one heck of a game of Tiny Overwatch. Tomato Lord wants to take it close and personal, but knows there's at least 3 people in there. UT Arlington with 11 meters to spare. Take ball control back. Sorry, cart control. Wrong game. 104 seconds left.
They at least have a little time to work with. This next fight will be crucial. I mean, the UTA able to get that bot back to the opposite side and get spawn advantage, or UCSD potentially gaining the lead.
Gaining the lead is absolutely of the utmost importance here for San Diego. We will be going to a map 3, and like you said earlier, hopefully a live one. Andrew finds 1 elimination, not able to get a second with a Suzu to boot. Kitsune Rush comes out, but Shin gives their life to commit it for the team. Forward spawn reactivated for UTA. Dez has to cryo freeze to stay into the fight, and it should be enough time for other members to respawn. The wall up, incredibly clever, one that I use all the time as it does pull enemy focus. Makes it a lot harder for a Doomfist to hit you. Zen, though, he doesn't need to be in front of you to hit you. Andrew down, Dez not far behind, and even Tomato Lord can't hang out at this party long enough. 60 seconds. San Diego needs to win the next fight and the following to win this map in a 2-0 fashion and move on to the bracket. But if they lose this upcoming fight, Salty, I think we're hitting a map 3.
There is definitely the potential to UTA do not get close spawn. They do make some swaps. Andrew on the Tracer, Dez onto the Sombra. Sombra definitely in reaction to Moosh, and now that they're on this full dive. But as you said, they have to make sure they win this fight and they get their opening pick.
The opening pick there on Denial is critical. UT Arlington looks for an opportunity to strike, and it looks like they're not going to have to look very far. Both supports taken offline incredibly fast. I think Moosh might get falling as well. There you go. Moosh sent back to spawn, and 17 seconds remain here on the clock. UT Arlington, I mean, all but have this map in the bag, Salty. I think we're hitting up control.
And they're just going to let the spot sit there. They don't want to get
That's
close
the play.
to the UCSD spawn. And will anybody be able to touch? And I honestly don't think anybody will. Yeah, the hack goes through.
Nice.
And yep, nope. Suzu isn't there in time.
What you gonna do, Zoo, without a good Suzu? Not able to keep your team alive. The hack comes through, and that is UT Arlington winning map number 2. That is the Arlington I know and love, and the Arlington I knew had the potential to try and answer back this map. That is going to be a 1-1 matchup now with control just over the horizon. Which control? I don't know. I hope not Antarctic Peninsula.
Yeah, can we not go back to Antarctic Peninsula as a caster's request? But man, Kaio on these flanks kept them in it so where the damage wasn't completely done yet, but they were never able to do that back-to-back fights. Because at some point, UTA were like, okay, we need to make sure this Kaio, like, okay, are they in the back? Are they in the front? Like, we got to make sure we know where this Sojourn is, because they're able to line up the shots, especially during the overclock. I will say, if you're UC Irvine, you're celebrating a little bit internally, because this is exactly what you want to see. More film and a closer series, meaning it's, a little bit more of an advantage for you.
And I mean, that's what we talked about right at the beginning, right? You had kind of that prediction in a way where you're like, if somebody 2-0s, there's a real chance if somebody gets taken all the way to map 3. Things change up a little bit. And like you mentioned, UCI did take down UNLV. The cavalry has fallen, unfortunately, and will not be joining us in Texas. But UCI looking for that chance. Washington as well has made it, and UH and Cal have not wrapped things up quite yet. But the opponent of the victor here will be UCI, #1 seed overall. So things will certainly not be getting easier.
No, from here on out, it's going to be hard games after hard games. I'm curious who actually wins that Houston-Cal game because it's two teams we don't know a ton about going into this. We know Houston is a pretty decent squad. Cal has been getting better as the semester has progressed. So I'm actually very curious how that game ends up, and we'll see probably by the end of this map how that one ends up. And I believe that is the final match of the night will be the winner of that. I mean, the winner of those two games, I believe.
I have no idea. So, I'm just here until production tells me I can go home.
Hey, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what production says, but I think that might be where we're heading later. But for now, UTA seemed to get the groove in it, and it might have just been the case of, hey, poke is just not our comp. And we are definitely better at the dive. We're better at the rush. And once we get to a map that actually uses that, it's a way more closer of a game.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think a closer game is just over the horizon, and even more so as, imagine I said we were going to Horizon Lunar Colony right there. No, I'm just kidding. We are going to Lijiang Tower, though, because that is a map I'm genuinely, for the first time in a long time, excited to see, because in a lot of collegiate, those of you who have ever been in the collegiate anything, and if you're all watching, we start with Lijiang like 90% of the time. Like that is something we see over and over. But the way we're doing these best of threes, we don't start with Control, which means we don't start with Lijiang, which means we haven't seen it yet today. And I'm really excited because two characters that are very near and dear to my heart both get value on this map. One of them is, I want to point the right way, right behind me there, my boy Junkrat, and then of course Symmetra as well. Two very fun characters that I love seeing get that time in the spotlight. And Lijiang Tower is the place where that often happens.
Yeah, especially over there on Control Center.
Yes.
We've seen a lot over these last few weeks. Some teams like to run the Mei into the Junk. And a lot of the time, the Junkrat still prevails because of the shield break and the instant kill ability that it has. It's almost the same reasoning that teams are playing Hanzo as of late, because they want to make sure they lock down those kills quickly. The Junkrat can do that, but instead we'll be going over to Gardens for round #1 as both teams getting ready for these dive comps. And UTA just going to start on this Ball Somber Tracer right away in anticipation of the Moosh Doomfist coming out for Navy, and it will be the Pharah, actually. So a little bit of pharmacy action getting involved here in Lijiang.
I like the Pharah. I think it makes a lot of sense, honestly, especially kind of expecting what Arlington's been bringing to the table a lot. Arlington hasn't been playing a lot of long-distance hit scan. I think that's been pretty clear. They've been playing up-close and personal compositions, a lot of the Tracer from Andrew. We saw Mei earlier as well. So we know that Arlington hasn't been playing kind of those long-range heavy hitters. San Diego Navy, they're going to try to exploit that as often and consistently as they can, because right now it's about winning in any way you have to get a victory under your belt. Could be a Sombra off the map. We got to assume a translocator has been put down. Lucio deep into the back line. Should be falling, but Moosh?
I think they missed their punch just a little bit. Yeah, and it will allow UTA just to cap this point without any worry. Yep, they're already off the Doom. This is going over to the Winds to realize that, hey, the Sombra is there. This is just going to make my life a living hell if I try to stay on the Doomfist.
Yeah, playing the Doomfist is going to be really difficult into a composition like this, but instead we're seeing the Winston swamp, one that I'm particularly fond of. Dez is able to get Kai out of the air, but Kai says, bye-bye, you're not that guy, I'll stay in the sky. Denial will be following close behind, though, so using that Mercy is going to be difficult to stay alive in this matchup. Unless there's nobody alive to do damage, and that's what Kai's hoping they get to see. 94 HP, just can't get away, and Middlelord says, it's not about you, it's all about me. UTA trying to find a victory.
Yes, and they'll at least stagger this out for a while. I think they might be able to just keep this point, yeah. It will be the res that comes through, but Tomato Lord tries to sneak that Mega and not able to yet, but the point during the entirety of this fight has been in their favor, and now they can just get out, grab the hacked Mega, and go right back in with the mine.
Oh, no! Dad, L. Oh, my goodness, talk about an eye for an eye. Okay, well, now it's 4 for 4. Andrew and Denial go down as well, so all of a sudden both teams missing 2 critical players. I can do math, I swear. Anyway, Tomato Lord is going to be able to get that bridge control once again. Arlington 61% done with Gardens here, and I've got to say, with how Arlington's been playing, this was probably the worst of the 3 stages for them to luck of the draw of the game.
Yeah, I think it definitely is. EMP late, his 2 members already gone, but at least helps them even the score a little bit.
Yeah, it helps them get rid of Kai, removes a lot of aggression off the table, and Pulse Bomb comes out. It's going to be a silent one. Andrew has fallen. Can Navy turn this around? UTA looking more and more likely to go up against UCI in this following round.
It will be UCSD at least winning this, I think, fight as Shin goes off the map. So unless some late game heroics, which they do commit the beat to this.
That is one of the ultimates of all time. That is incredible. The drop the beat right there, I think it makes a lot of sense in the moment, but as a spectator, I really got to be like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. But being a player, I'm sure I would have done the exact same thing, so I can't be too critical at the end of the day. But either way, San Diego takes them 99 seconds to answer back there, even with a little bit of overtime. So more than, they have to win every single fight from here on out, Salty. They literally cannot afford to make a single mistake for the next, what is that, 86 seconds.
And to their benefit, at least, nobody has ults going into this practically.
True.
You know, you'll have the sound barrier for denial. The Kitsune Rush is here if they want to play quick, but Dez already has to TP out.
That's going to be both Lucio's offline now. Kitsune Rush not helpful enough to UTA to be able to keep all 5 members standing. Okay, now both Kyries are gone. No supports in what could possibly or likely even be the final combat of this map. Moosh 312 HP. What a rollout from Denial to already be back in the fight. Give San Diego Navy the numbers advantage they needed, and Tomato Lord falls as well. Moosh finally going to be going down, but I think Navy has enough. I think they've got what they need to make this work, to take that fight and just stay alive another day.
Yes, they will be missing that 10 or so % they could have been gaining during the time the Mavericks had control, but still not horrible here for UTAs. They actually do find Dez in the back, and they'll be able to translocate out, but that Mega on the side of UCSD is hacked for the time being.
Plenty of ultimates in the arsenal for San Diego. Arlington, a couple of critical ones as well. EMP online. Are they going to use it to make up for a missing Tomato Lord? It looks like Dez is getting ready, but holy guacamole!
Oh
Kai is the guy in that moment. Gets a 3K to 3 for 1, but you're hardly upset about that when you clean a house against your opponent. Dez, the last member left standing. I mean, just waiting for an EMP right now. What do you... not funny.
Yeah, that's a little risky.
Not funny.
But...
That was wild. You didn't even leave the fun. What?
Oh!
Okay, I kind of get it. I kind of get it.
Yeah, because you make sure Moosh does not get out, and now it puts UCSD at the disadvantage. They have to somehow reset us. Tomato Lord is in the back, just trying to make sure they can stay alive to use his minefield on point, but the point will flip in the time being.
I think this is going to be a disaster. Now, luckily enough, you did find Tomato Lord. You have Kitsune online. Primal Rage locked and loaded as well, and every ultimate under the sun going to be used by San Diego. Arlington, they're going to have a minefield. They're going to have a beat, and they're going to have another pulse bomb just around the corner if they get a chance to use them. But San Diego Navy trying to flip the point back in their favor, losing a lot of critical percentage here, especially as Jupiter continues to stagger against them. 99 to 84. San Diego has a pulse bomb, one more fight to survive, and a dream here, Salty, of winning stage number 1. No. I know what's going on.
Yeah, mines are still open here to split up point. Jupiter does die late during that contest, so we'll take them a second to get there, but doesn't die during, which gets a little close. They also have the sound barrier here if they need it as a last case scenario, but Tomato doesn't get the mines down.
So definitely one of the ultimates I've ever seen. I think they definitely could have held that a little bit, at least wait until a couple of teammates were in radius, but I get it. It's a panic moment. It's 99 to 99, and you're losing, so you definitely want to go ahead and use every ultimate you can. Try and keep it alive. A great melee onto Andrew will send them back to the spawn room. Tomato Lord, the last member left standing, giving us that classic Wrecking Ball spin to win, but with a 20-player kill streak on the line for at least one member of San Diego, they are going to be able to walk away with a 1-0 lead on Lijiang Tower. One stage left, and they can move on against UCI, but if Arlington can answer back on the 2 stages, like I mentioned earlier, I think they're going to do better on. This could go a lot further.
Seemed like the Mavericks panicked. They massively panicked. As Tomato Lord, they try and get on the point. The mines are a little bit too far out, and they seem like, oh, I'm getting low. Jupiter is just running back at this point, just trying to get there as fast as possible, and the sound barrier just doesn't really land how they would have liked. It lands after Tomato Lord's already dead. At that point, you just got to try and make some lemonade out of lemons. And sorry for them, it was just a little too sour that time around. And we will now see that Symmetra that you were talking about, at least for UCSD, UTA, they're not even going to try it. They will just continue running the same comp.
Can't blame them, honestly. I mean, they're going to be using Sim just to get into the fight a little bit sooner, but with the speed advantage that Arlington has right now, doesn't really matter that much. It just kind of got you there at the same time rather than sooner, and didn't give you an opportunity to set up. Moosh going to dive deep into the back line. Tomato Lord is going to be there to pick them up. A hack onto Kai should have them fall. There it is. Finally, Andrew is going to be able to pick that up. UT Arlington has the numbers advantage here on day markets, and it looks like they're going to get a little bit more. Denial falls as well, and Andrew really showing up here on stage 2 of Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, the link up between them and Dez is very good at the beginning. Both times Dez hacks a target, Andrew's able to pick him up and confirm the kills, and now they're able to cap point first. They just got to make sure this time they're able to keep it around just a little bit longer.
Keeping things around a little bit longer is going to be the name of the game. And Moosh, yeah, you got to stick around a little bit longer for end 44 HP in that moment, but barely able to make it back. They've got the hacked health pack against them as well, so they lose a lot of value in a critical moment. But Winston does not go down. Monkey sticks around just a little bit longer, and as San Diego Navy makes their own space on point, we should be able to answer back only the 27% that Arlington has found. Oh, Denial pooped off the map by Tomato Lord, though. Imsternator has to give us their best supportal combat impression to finally flip things back for San Diego Navy, and flip them they shall. That could have been like 15%, turns into 35 off the stall.
Yeah, at least a decent stall. The extra 15 to 20% for the Mavericks, but still, I would say massively in favor of UCSD. It just seems like their comp, especially on this sub-map of Li Jiang, just fits a little bit better because Kai can just keep that distance to try and get those open picks.
Pulse Bomb goes out. Nobody's able to get the lineup quite yet, unfortunately, and Tomato Lord has to remove themselves from the equation. Oh! That, you know, we've all been there. Can't even be that critical about it. We've all been there, and unfortunately, it's for Andrew finds himself at a pivotal moment like this one. Tomato Lord should be going down in this fight. I'll be kind of surprised if they don't, and all right, count me surprised. Tomato Lord makes it out of the equation, even with that speed, sub 100 HP. Jupiter, though, really going for an overextension. Both supports should be falling in just a moment here on the side of Arlington. This is one of those fights, Salty, where it feels like it's just never ending. Dez drops the EMP, gets two, and then says, hey, I'll EMP right back. You know what I'm saying? Moosh is going to be falling on the side of San Diego Navy as well, and Arlington flipped it back 53% on the board and counting. Can they take us all the way to Control Center?
They used everything during that fight, though, I will say. UCSD now have the Primal, Sound Barrier, Kitsune Rush, Overclock. They're getting close to a Pulse as well. Anything that they could have, they have, and they would want to have, but Sound Barrier is too late to save Kai.
Sound Barrier a little too late. Kai will go down at a very important moment. Let's see if Kitsune can make up for that missing DPS. Maybe less so, as Denial has also been removed from the fight. This could possibly be the last fight of Day Market here, as San Diego Navy has to recontest, but we saw this exact same scenario back on Gardens, right? And San Diego Navy won that. So can they kind of pull the rabbit out of the hat once more with the 3 ultimates remaining in their arsenal?
I think it's definitely a possibility, especially if they're able to land that Pulse Bomb early in this fight. They will just be the one that can test this, is to make sure you're able to touch in time. But no, Xing hits the headshot, takes the Tracer out.
Taking the Tracer offline is huge here. Xing does find that 120 damage headshot and makes it a little easier for San Diego Navy to turn things around. Overclock online. Bit of an odd one, I'll be honest. It looks like it's one that's not even going to work that well. Kai and Denial are both going to be falling. And Tomato Lord, I mean, I talked about how good this Wrecking Ball can be, and my goodness, this kid has gone and shown us the value he can get on this silly little moon hamster. Jupiter picks up a double kill, and that should be the end of Day Market here on Li Jiang. Not only are we going to the third and final map of a map 3, we are going to the final stage of it as well. You see San Diego versus Arlington. Which one of these teams can make it just one round further?
I think if you're Kai near the end, it's like, I just gotta pop this. I can't die with this.
Absolutely,
It's not perfect placement for that, but if you know your Tracer died before they can even land the Pulse, as they're definitely the initiation tool at that point, and it's it's just a rough draw for UCSD. And now completely different comps. You cannot run dive on this submap. It's just impossible. So it will be UTA running, I would say the more traditional comp on Control Center with the Junkrat and the Symmetra. UCSD, for the most part, want to do the same thing, but Moose is debating on the Orisa, which I don't mind, actually, but it can definitely be a little tricky.
Yeah, wholeheartedly. Orisa is not an easy character to play in a circumstance like this, but I think she could be pretty aggressively anti-Ryan. I mean, every ability she has stops his pin early on. She can eat a lot of damage as well from spam characters like Dez on this Junkrat. Now, Dez is one heck of a Junkrat. One of my favorites to watch in the collegiate scene, and I'm glad we're finally getting the chance to see it on what a lot of people call Junk's best map in the entire game is Legion Tower Control Center. You got to get the eliminations, though. The damage simply does not matter if you can't clean up off the back of them. Dez goes out early, tries to find the value, but it's going to be Moosh collapsing it on top of them that makes it near impossible to stay alive. The first blood from Moosh guarantees a bit of an advantage here for San Diego Navy, and an advantage they need. They have yet to cap a point for the first time. Arlington has been able to find first point cap every stage so far. Is that going to be the same? The Magnate finds not one, but two on the side of San Diego Navy, and I believe they have the numbers to win this if they keep themselves alive. Kai, a 4K in that fight. 4K Kai striking once again, and San Diego Navy finally capping point first.
And they already have Deadeye. That is how much value they were getting that fight. And UTA will already make the swaps. They will go over to the Zarya to try and deal with the Orisa as well as Dez on May, Andrew on the Cassidy. So realizing, hey, this is just not going to work against Orisa. Let's try a more anti-Orisa comp and more of a mirror on that DPS line to try and get us in a better spot. But yeah, Matrix used early from both.
And Matrix going to be used for both. The Pulse Bomb Stick is going to be taken out by an Immortality Field. High Noon from Kai going for the hold, but Immo fails their plans once again. Beat drop from Jupiter. Denial didn't have one to use quite yet, and Moosh finds that out the hard way. Kai and Denial fall as well, and San Diego Navy looking to stall for as long as they can, but unfortunately the stall does not exist for long. The Zarya swap, I love to see it in this moment because Zarya can pretty critically counter Orisa if played correctly. Now Moosh has to swap onto Orion of his own, which, I mean, if you play it wrong, can also be countered by Zarya here. So this is definitely a high-risk, high-reward scenario.
Yeah, but I think at this point you need to swap because, as you said, like,
Definitely,
Zarya, it just burns through Orisa because that Javelin Spin does not stop that beam from just rolling through you. And UCSD have the speed to try and engage, but that's really about it. When Andrew looking for an early Deadeye, nice wall forces that beat early.
Deadeye comes out from Andrew. The beat has to be dropped by Denial, and it looks like it's not really going to guarantee any eliminations. Almost just delays the length of the fight. A very quick Blizzard from Dez, and oh, you can't even left shift your way out of there. Poor Moosh. Critical condition still standing, and unfortunately not for long. Arlington will barely be able to snake out a lead here, Salty, before San Diego begins to crumble. That Blizzard making all of the space, and now already halfway done with the third and final point of this map. Can San Diego answer back in time?
I think they definitely can. Kim does have the Matrix try and open up a fight, and yeah, the May will now be the call as. I don't mind that to try and help out your tank with a May wall of your own, but this grab is already getting teased and is used right away.
Kai is going to find Shing here, and the elimination does end up in favor of San Diego Navy. This is the exact opportunity they needed. It's Kai being the guy all over again. Just this critical DPS player for the San Diego Squadron. Puts down Dez with the help of the team, and it looks like that cast should not be long for this world either. Andrew will be deleted, and 75%. San Diego has to pull the rabbit out of the hat. They were successful. They're 1-1 on the magic trick so far. They won the first point, lost the second, and it's up to this third and final point if they'll go toe-to-toe with the UCI in the next game.
And already Tomato's like, okay, you know, Zarya not going to work against this, so another tank swamp in this game. They will just match the Ryan for the remainder of this game. Walls down, Moosh is cornered, and yeah, this is just bullying at this point.
Tiny Overwatch doesn't always end in favor of everybody. You know what I mean? Somebody's got to lose, somebody's got to win, and now as Moosh goes down. Okay, and Matrix High Noon. Oh, Kai doesn't even get to blink before he is removed from the fight. Andrew finding a double kill, and I think San Diego Navy doing a really good job there of kind of delaying that for as long as they could to make it so they have one more engagement. And this next engagement should be a strong one. A Blizzard, a High Noon, and a Shatter if they can get in to use them.
It just depends on if they can actually get in time, because only 14 seconds left. They will actually take the gimbal. They will rotate all the way through servers here to try and get to point.
Rotating through servers is an interesting spot to be in, and it's not going to pay off quite yet. Okay, finally they're going to be able to touch. Kai is there. There's the Blizzard. There's the Shadow. There's the Beat from Jupiter. It only finds 2 members. Andrew and Dez both not going to be caught out by it. The Blizzard, though, from San Diego is enough to at least take down Dez. Mortality Field offline. Andrew falls, and San Diego Navy really feeling good about their opportunities here of winning this matchup, or at least this fight. 29 seconds is more than enough time for Arlington to answer back, this time with a High Noon, Shatter, and Blizzard of their own.
Yeah, so we just basically flip the roles. This time it's UCSD who have the support ultimates. UTA will have those DPS ultimates here in just a moment. Tomato Lord has the Shadow, but Moosh can build this, especially if they land that Fire Strike, and they do!
The Moosh is loose here. Oh, Tomato Lord finding Kim, just making sure they go eye for an eye there. 9 seconds left on the clock. San Diego Navy is seconds away from separating UT Arlington from a chance to play in their own backyard at CECC. Both Mays have fallen. The pin of the Tomato Lord removes him from the fight and possibly from the series, from the bracket, as there are only seconds left. Jupiter jumps right into that 90 damage hammer and says goodbye to Li Zhang, says goodbye to the last chance qualifier. San Diego Navy has done it, and they will move on to go against UCI in the second bracket semifinal.
Man, what a
I'm
match.
sweating, bro.
Yeah, dude. Kai in the back at the very end of that fight. They pick off too early. And yes, all the pressure's in the front. You know, Tomato Lord just trying to make somebody can touch. And there's so much pressure around that. The Blizzard throwing in as well. But it's Kai that's able to sneak around, find the few picks, set their team up for the rest. As Kai, they got to get man of the match on this. Like, no matter what map they play, they were all around. hey, the pulse bumping it doesn't help the play it there. Hurts the ego a little bit. But hey, for a team that the main team forfeits out, you're the last hope. They step up when they need to, and now they have quite the challenge on their hands here in the semifinals.
I mean, they did not only show up, they showed off in this circumstance.
Yeah.
There, Kai could have farmed an entire highlight reel across those 3 maps, and I'm certain that they did a phenomenal job from San Diego Navy. And I don't know if our next series is also them, but we'll get to that in just a couple of minutes. We'll see you folks right back here with some more Last Chance Qualifier in just a bit. Bronze medal because it is a heartbreaker. Things looking great for Concord. They have the numbers, they get onto the point, but they forgot to look at the Roadhog, and Zerial teaches them the hard way just how scary that Roadhog can be.
Has all the ults in the world.
And they do a nice job for Mr. Business, though, to take out Cozy while they were using their... Oh my goodness! Zerial, you're just getting a double kill with a whole hog, pushing people off.
Now, way back in clip number 8, I talked about how good Tony Pajamas from Fisher can truly be when he unlocks his full potential. But folks, you don't have to take my word for it anymore. Check out what this kid does in our silver medal clip of the week.
He will find a look from the ledge.
Ooh, almost another stock there from Kai Squared. They go for the side B instead. It's not enough. They'll be able to make it back to stage. There's a back throw. He's facing the wrong way to Zaire. He finds the forward air. He's going deep for him, and he got him without...
And I truly cannot imagine a better clip to wrap off week number 8. Kiwi from the side of Pace found almost every member of JJC ripe for the picking.
It just comes down to being one of those things where who is using utility more effective. Is Kiwi running a frenzy on Chamber? This is interesting and I love it. As the CECC is going to come out, going to find a ton of value with that frenzy. Make it, oh my God. And just Kiwi popping off there with 3. Make it 4. The ace got stolen, but we just saw a Chamber with a frenzy.
And with that, folks, I hate to say it, but that does bring week 8 and the main season here to an end for the time being. We've got playoffs right around the corner, and I'll be right back here to walk through those with all of you. I'm still Septilence. I hope you're still having a great time. Check your posture, drink some water. Don't forget to love each other, and I'll see you for those playoff highlights.
We're at the Collegiate Esports Commissioners Cup. Let's make some noise.
Oh, and it's gonna
jumped into
it. Corner judges go for 1, 2, dip. He needs more. And
they're doing even more here. You gotta touch the point. Mr. Collins walks it in.
Toy Boy is gonna drop. Knife him. Right out in front.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Running.
Hello everybody and welcome back to ECAC Plays of the Week, and it's not just any week this time, it is the playoffs. We've got 8 incredible clips and I'm super excited to jump into them. My name's Septilence. I hope you're ready to hop into the ride because it's going to be a great one. When I found out this was clip number 8 of the playoffs highlight reel, I was flabbergasted because this is an incredible moment from Swift on the side of RPI. It's not just 1 or 2 elims to win the round and put RPI in a better position. It's all 5 coming from a single player. Take a look.
They hit him with the judge, operator in hand. Swift is trying to be able to find some value to it. The headhunter does a number on him. They're going to get a 4K. They're going to be able to get this plan down. Dakota's going to try and find him. Do they go into the tank? Yes, they do. Oh, they come out. That's the ace for Swift. They're able to make it happen all themselves. And they will get this one for free for RPI.
Clip number 7 tells a pretty amazing story as well. Ball State already up 2 games in a best-of-7 series, and they find themselves tied 2-2, less than a minute left on the clock. Perhaps a little bit more pressure than they'd want there in game number 3, but it's Daffy from Ball State that takes all the pressure and immediately relieves it from the team.
Find it back, pass to Daffy, bar down and in. Ball State will not be denied a game.
Crossbar has been doing a heck of a job here for Hartford, keeping the ball out of the net, but it only lasts for so long as Daffy's able to get...
Playoffs call for one thing: unconventional plays and crazy moments. And I knew this was going to be a crazy moment when the clip started with me looking at the casters. This stock comes through so fast from Northwood that we couldn't even get just the gameplay in the clip. It wouldn't be long enough. It is an incredible moment from SGP, and it just goes to show how good Northwood continues to be.
See, seconds into the match, and SGP's got a spike, a 0 to death at that.
Brother, that was literally one down here after Fireball, bro, please. Oh, and now we're playing this dangerous game at the ledge.
For clip number 5, we're jumping into one of my favorite games, and we get the chance to see one of my favorite ultimate combinations in the game right now. The Roadhog ultimate and the Kitsune Rush from Kiriko, so unbelievably strong, and it really helps Newberry kind of snap back in a moment where they were struggling to gain their footing once again.
To deal with that Nano Blade, you really just have to get around the protection Suzu and the Sleep Dart.
Well, there's the whole hog, there's the Kitsune Rush, and there goes the lives of Alfred State. Depressus is going to find a third. That's going to be a team kill. Kitsune Rush plus whole hog, overpowered, I swear.
Clip number 4, not quite on the podium, but still very, very impressive. Emery and Henry versus St. Lawrence going head-to-head. Both teams, 2 players left, but Hispanard wants to clean up their opponents as quick as humanly possible, and quick they certainly were.
Yeah, little known fact, PhD actually stands for pretty heavy dude, because Dr. Mario might as well be a heavy. With how he hits and how hard he can be to kill sometimes, the fact that he has Mario's hitboxes, his get off me tools, and his kill confirms at ledge, like I said, throw confirms.
At the beginning of this video, I talked about the individual presence a single player can have to make or break success for their team. Keller from Fisher College proves that point in its entirety by dropping a 4K against Ball State University and removing any iota of wind from their sails on Kings Row.
They could potentially use, be able to make something happen here. Now Ravenstrider is going to use the Kitsune Keller! 2 kills inside of the, oh my word, inside of the Dragons, and now they're looking for a 4K.
For our silver medal spot, our second clip here in the highlights of the playoffs is going to go to none other than Lackawanna. They have peppered themselves in these highlight reels week after week, and when they entered this upper bracket round 1, they immediately wanted to send the message they were there to win.
That's a big reason why Barton shouldn't be feeling too hard done by if they lose this series. That's a beautiful play.
And our number 1 gold medal clip of the ECAC playoff highlights is a beautiful moment from Hybrid, one that left my jaw on the floor. Let's see if the same goes for you.
For the team, it means a lot, right? Hybrid lurking in front,
Annihilate
for giving, yeah!
Blows up that entire push.
And as much as I hate to say it, folks, this is the final ECAC top plays of the week here for the fall split. It's a sad moment, and I'm really glad that I've had the opportunity to sit through this with you week after week and really highlight these individual players, because as great as the team play can be, it's awesome to see these moments where one person can make or break such an incredible moment for their team. I have been Septilence. You have been wonderful and rocking through all of these weeks with me, getting to see all these wonderful moments, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the spring. But until then, check your posture, drink some water, don't forget to love each other, and I'll see you on the other side.
Welcome everybody here to the top 5 plays of the week from Esports U. Clutchkey here to help you bring those 5 plays, and we got one from each game lined up. Let's start with play number 5, and this one takes us to Rocket League, where the Bulldogs of Louisiana Tech and the SUNY Poly Wildcats squaring off. But for the Bulldogs, they show us why the saying goes, teamwork makes the dream work, with insane passes and a goal to end it.
The options have to go and recover defensively because that's a big long clear. And, well, the long clear can either catalyze an offense or bring into situations like this. Jazz leaps up for the shot, knocks it home.
Now, the Wildcats were able to take a game off the Bulldogs, but in the end, Louisiana Tech would go on to win the series 4-1.
Coming in at number 4 is from League of Legends, and it's the Army West Point Black Knights and the Lethbridge College Kodiaks playing in a USA versus Canada game on the Rift. But down 2 people mid-game. It was looking kind of like the Black Knights had a challenging fight coming up in top lane. But then again, the Army isn't called tough for nothing.
2v4, by the way. Now a 3v1 into another 3v1. This is Army West Point just doing the duty list, right? That is almost a full ace. Yeah, the minions will help him out. That is an ace.
Now that was in game number 1, and Army West Point would go on to win the entire series 2-0. Let's go to number 3 now in Overwatch 2 action, where the Great Danes of Albany and the Bulls of South Florida squaring off. First map on Oasis, and things started to look good for South Florida to flip the point. Unfortunately for them, one player was hitting shots, and one player was showing why Doomfist has Doom in his name. Getting 2 picks, although that comes out right back. Bob is out of the 4. Ski gets 2. Ski gets 2. This is just an annihilating fracture here from Ski. It's unbelievable. The fight continues on, and it looks like it's going to be a fight win here for Albany. Albany would go ahead and take that game and take on the sweep as they would defeat South Florida 3-0. 2 spots left on the countdown, and coming in at number 2 is Super Smash Bros. Sauce from the Fisher Falcons taking on Neo Joe from the St. Thomas Aquinas Spartans. It's Mario taking on the Pokemon trainer with the Squirtle out, but don't let Sauce start cooking, or they could lay the smackdown on you.
Sauce, there's a couple of Mario players kind of making waves right now, but it's about what Sauce is doing right now to Neo Joe. He's saucing him up. Oh my mercy, what a forward air.
Fisher would go ahead and take that fight, take that win, and take the series 2-0. And the number 1 play belonging to Valorant. The Demon Deacons of Wake Forest have a 1-0 lead up on the Bryan Bulldogs, heading to Icebox. But Wake Forest down 6-4. Spike planted on B, and it's a 1v3 situation favoring the Bulldogs. Luckily for the Demon Deacons, this was one of the rounds that Conrad decided to play the hero.
Are they just going to leave this? Are they playing for Hunter's Fury? Potentially they are. And there's the shot from Aimbot, though. This is going to be extremely dangerous. He's going to be able to find him. Does he have time?
Now that match would go on to map number 3, and Conrad would also get an ace on that last map, but it wasn't enough as Brian would win the series 2-1. And that's it for the top 5 of the week from Esports U. We'll see you back out there for even more games. And until next time, this is Clutchkey from Esports U signing off.
https://twitter.com/septilence. Don't put that in. I'll get in trouble. So that's worth it. Did I get too close to the camera on that one? A little bit too close. Should I back up a little bit? Okay, sorry about that. My bad. I've been awake for probably close to 32 hours. Like, I have to hold my keyboard the normal way, because if I do it, I feel like I have arthritis if I hold my keyboard like that. It blows my mind. I can never do that. This guy right here, he's got his keyboard off at an angle. His isn't that extreme. There's a kid all the way down to the far end who has his keyboard all the way at a horizontal. That's really cool. They're going to be at that table right over there. Public information? Oh, I don't know. But this isn't live, so it doesn't matter. It's not live, but you and I know. Yeah, we know. I'm not going to tweet it. Awesome. What game do you play?
Smash Bros.
Who do you play? Is it embarrassing? Is it like Villager?
Yeah.
Is it Villager? Am I spot on? Oh my god. Is it the Ice Climbers?
No.
Is it Game & Watch?
No.
Is it Pichu? No. Is it Wario? No. I can keep going. I think I can name every character in the game. Is it? Did I say the Ice Climbers already?
Yeah, you said them.
Is it them? No. Is it them a second time?
No.
Okay. All right. Oh, is it one of the Links?
Yes, it is.
Is it Toon Link?
It is.
Oh, that is pretty embarrassing. That is rough. Who do you play?
I'll give you $20 if you guess correctly right now.
First try? Give me a single hint.
It's an obscure character.
Obscure character.
Not played very often.
Is it Wii Fit Trainer?
Oh my God!
I'm the interviewer for a reason, baby. I do what I do. I don't need the money. I appreciate it, though. I appreciate it. So Bowser Jr., Wii Fit, and I forgot already. Are you all lying to me? Am I being gaslit? No. Bowser Jr., Wii Fit, and you told me already. Oh, Toon Link. Yep. Where's my main support at? Who are we playing this weekend?
A lot of Brig.
A lot of Brig, really?
Brig Lucio, probably.
Brig Lucio, really? I shouldn't say that too loud. I don't want to give all your strategies. It's over-under?
What do you mean over-under?
Like, do we think we're going to podium? Do we think we're going to come in last place?
Not last place.
Not last place?
Certainly not last.
What about, like, 5th place?
That's doable.
That's doable? That's winnable? 3rd place?
Third place.
That's where things get dicey?
That's very doable.
Okay.
First place? That's very doable.
First place, very doable. Love it. That's the mindset. That's what he loves to hear. Yeah. Oh my God. Hold on. Cut the cameras. Well, who are you? Hello. Oh my God. I saw you earlier. I saw the back of your shirt. And I was like, I know that name. I know him. It's a quick play game. They Q-sniped each other at land. I thought it was a scrim. It's just unlucky. Are you actually a Villager player?
Yeah.
How do you feel about Villager being notably worse in Smash Ultimate than they were in Smash 4?
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know? You never played Smash 4?
No.
Oh, that's all right. Nobody's gonna hold that against you. Now, who do you play?
I play Robin.
Okay, wow. Did you know Robin has the lowest pick rate in the game?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Come on, the LEDs, it looks just like Samus.
Huh?
Do you disagree?
I guess I can see
The
it.
Samus vibe. Show the controller to the camera. We're interviewing. This is recording, by the way. Surprise.
Not my controller.
Who do you play?
I play Peach.
Oh, wow, I like that. Who do you play?
I play the Shotos, mostly Kazuya.
No, you lose against Kirby. That's just like a statistics thing.
Yeah. It's maybe.
This is a death match. I think they're all in the same one. They're all on Icebox. Are they all in the same death match? Maybe. Who knows? I feel like none of them can hear me. I want to like approach somebody, but no one can hear. They all have both their headphones on.
What's up?
How do we think we're doing?
I think we're doing pretty good. Yeah.
What's your kitty?
We're looking at 10 and 6 right now.
Oh, hey, that's 3rd, dude. That's better than I expected. Who's bottom frag right now? I want to go talk to them. Ian? Hey, how do you think we're doing so far?
You know, it could be better.
Could be better? You're one of those rough days?
Well, you know.
Let's go find more people to harass. Yeah. Where's Boise State? Who's your favorite to play?
Oh, right now it's got to be either Chamber or Breach.
What country is Cypher from?
Oh, dude. It's Moroccan, right?
It is Morocco. Oh my God, I don't think anyone is gonna get that. Oh, you're good. You're good. All right, see you later. Let's go harass Boise State more. Who is this? What school is this? Boise?
This is Boise.
Oh man, that's okay. Boise's still got really good odds. A Large Bagel, one of their tank players, Nerdy Bird, they're off tank. Both of them not here. A little bit scary, if we're being honest. Getting warmed up, getting ready to cast some players. No, okay, not cast, interview. Change your mindset, change your mindset.
Words.
No, but last words until we come back.
Oh, okay.
Because we're leaving.
Enjoy.
Oh, that was good, that was good. Anything from you?
How are we doing, Polly?
Awesome, thank you so much for your time.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the ECAC Top Plays of the Week. I am Septilance, and I'm super excited to walk through these with you so you can see all of the great moments we are getting out of collegiate esports. One of my favorite things about these seasons is as they go on, as the years continue to pass, the skill ceiling just gets higher and higher, and the teams get better and better. Starting things off in Week 1 and 2, these teams came out the gate swinging. Let's take a look at what they were ready to bring out in these early weeks. Valorant is a game all about risk versus reward, and Sin from NYIT wanted to show us just how much he was willing to risk to get that great reward of a round win.
Sort of forced to pop off, maybe get a little bit more sniper play, but these direct, tight angles make it tough. You have Axorus that actually gets a wallbang headshot onto Prime. Oh, that timing on the paranoia works so well.
Yo, give it up for the util, bro. Sin's gonna pick up 3 into the site. It's a lurk on its way from the chamber, but unless you're going to spam through this box, you're not getting anything done, and Panda won't even let him get that far.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a game that can be decided in milliseconds, and Waka, one of the best players from SUNY Canton A Squad, wanted to show us just what they can do with only a second and a single stock on the board.
Cena, sledge option going to be charging forward smash, going a little early. They're not quite getting what you want. Drop shield after first hit and pick, getting hit by the kid. High percent. There is the stun into Claw. at Qualifier. Been charged for a lot longer. Oh my goodness, that's a forwarder into stage with the stage spike and then upping immediately after. What a sick.
1 point in Rocket League can never make a team feel comfortable, but Driftsy wanted to show us that not only was he going to pick the pace up, but he wasn't going to let his team down.
Defensive test with flying colors, though they couldn't get out, and that is the important part at the moment. Clears a must for UA, and it's just not in the cards at the moment.
Dripsy connects off the backboard. What a shot. I watched it unfold slowly. You stopped speaking at just the right moment.
Valorant is often called a team-based shooter, but sometimes it can't just be about the team. Sometimes you gotta have those hero plays. Spec wanted to spray and pray and was actually able to save the day for SVSU, tying up the series 7-7.
Hard B push here. 2 Omen smokes coming out. 1. Oh, Spec just finds 3.
What?
Spraying through the smoke? Oh, what, Spec? That's not legal, man. That's not legal. This is match day 2 of the ECAC League. You can't be doing that right now. Spec just goes with the call.
Here in this clip, Fanshawe finds themselves with their backs against the wall, 20 seconds left on the clock, and they're desperate to take down Wake Forest. They don't have anything to get through this team, they don't have any weapons on the field, but with Jackie Moon in the wings, at least they had a sniper.
Apparently. Guys gonna believe all the shots. Oh, a sniper! Jackie Moon from about midway through. What a shot right here from Jackie.
Wow, good eye sniper. Yes, sir. Jackie Moon puts us on the right side. A little bit more to the left. This one would have been...
Here in this clip, we're going to get a great moment from a Pac-Man, and as a Pac-Man player, I was super excited to see it. We're going to hear a lot of praise from our commentators giving Hello, everybody, and welcome back to CECC Last Chance Qualifier, once again brought to you by Esports U, CSMG, and of course, Zip Chair Gaming. I am Septimus, joined by Twin Salty. We are jumping into our final series of the night with 2 teams that have somehow made it through the whole day without being on stream.
Yes, it'll be Cal versus. Yeah, man, I'm already forgetting. Man, it's been a long day, Seth. It's been a long day.
We've been here for a little
day.
while.
But we have
Cal
Washington
versus
State
Washington.
versus Cal. Gee, man, it's the West Coast, man. They're cursing me here, but you know, 2 teams we didn't expect to be here for one reason or another. But hey, they're in the spot, and if they can win this, they're one step closer to a spot in Arlington.
Yeah, and it's funny because I went in today thinking, okay, top 3 teams in the LCQ today. Northwood, San Diego Gold, and Maryville.
Yep.
Northwood and San Diego Gold both forfeit, so it is just Maryville at the top, which means the rest of those slots, at least for a chance, are wide open, and both these teams definitely trying to go for it. Washington, they win in a 2-0 fashion over San Diego because they forfeit, and then Cal does win 2-1 over UH, Houston, not Hawaii. So they're able to take Houston down a peg and guarantee themselves a spot in the bracket 2 semifinals. Winning this puts them up against either UCI or San Diego Navy, who then they have to beat to just go up against Maryville or whoever Maryville's going to beat, probably Maryville. But the point stands that this is Rutgers B team. That's right. So it's either Maryville or Rutgers, and then UCI Esports or UCSD Navy or WSU Crimson or Cal Esports. So there's a lot to get through here. One more series. I don't actually know what starting map is, so let's all just find out together. I forgot.
I believe it's Circuits. I believe.
That's why I'm a play caster. It's Circuit Royale as our final first map of the night. And going into Circuit, I mean, we talked about this earlier. Snipers and Sigma. It's what it all starts with.
Yep. Yeah, Snipers, Sigma, BapZen, you know, the most long-range comp you could ever dream of on this map. And again, we see a little bit of diversity here with the Soj sometimes, or the Ash if they want to run it with the Mercy damage boost. But a lot of times, yeah, it's going to be a lot of pressure on your Widow to land the shots. The Hans will be there to try and send some shots as well. A lot of shield break, more pressure on the tank. So curious to see how these teams want to try and interact early on as, again, 2 teams who, funny enough, played each other like, I know they play each other all the time,
But like
Yeah.
during my first casting gig, they played in a league with all the Pac-12 schools, and now all of a sudden they're here in the esports in CECC Last Chance Qualifier. It's a small world out there because back then neither of these teams were very good, and all of a sudden they are in the top 8. So a lot can change in 2 years, and now they're battling for a spot. And I'm curious. I got Cal, I think, in this series. We're going through our Preds before this.
Yeah.
We both have Cal, but I do think this is very much up in the air because we haven't seen either team today.
Yeah, and I will say, out of our predictions today, I do have a 13 for 20. Salty beating me 15 to 20 right now, and the rest of our predictions are just the same. So I lose my 2 no matter what happens. But as our producer Colton pointed out, that's why he's the color caster and I am play-by-play. So you see California, Berkeley really coming in here, trying to make some waves, but Washington definitely coming in with a bit of expectation. They win 2-0 against the Chargers from UNLV. And they get a really long break as UC San Diego Gold did forfeit, and now Washington has to come out absolutely swinging here in this circumstance. No surprises on either side. The double sniper Sigma Bap Zen is exactly what we predicted, and it's exactly what we're going to be seeing. A great shot early from Cyfox, and they're not going to be able to feel him, but it creates additional space. And with Ramatra on the other side, Altu is going to, I think, struggle a little bit if Washington closes the gap of that opening corner.
Yeah, they're just trying to play this really close, and it's almost... I'm trying to think of a point that this is very similar to, but a lot of times you don't hold at this first corner like this.
Yeah.
But that is where they are determined to hold with the May, and Amon is actually able to find somebody as Kojo with the assist from Finn, and now UC Berkeley can just settle down a little bit. 45 seconds gone, and Washington State just need to take a little more time to go at this as the Widow isn't really given any sight lines whatsoever.
I think LOSing the Widow is definitely going to be the most important part, as she is the one-shot potential for this team. As Cyfonx has been showing us, they're not missing a headshot so far. Unfortunately, none of them have been charged enough to be critical, but they're doing a lot of damage, making it really difficult to get up front and personal. Poor Kojo goes down for the second time in a row, Joe, and now Neon Ninjas joins them back in spawn as well. Petrol taken out by Autu, and Washington State putting themselves back into the spawn room, going for a recontest because already, I mean, over 30% of their time bank is gone.
Yeah, you could tell this was not what they thought they would be running against, and they will swap over to the rush with Kiri on the Rhine and, the Cassidy and May as well. So you see Berkeley, the gamble pays off. You're able to take some time off, and you force a composition swap.
Composition swap comes out early. The Reinhardt from Washington is a fascinating one, to say the very least, but as of right now, Berkeley has this locked and loaded, and they are looking for the opportunity to burn as much time as possible. Finally losing out to, I love that Amon pops the Blizzard right away to try and make up for that missing tank, and they unfortunately aren't going to be able to. It's a 2-for-1 trade following that tank fall, and now Finn trying to give us that supportal combat, but as a cast with a homing grenade on his lock there. Oh, now you get away. That's notably surprising.
Yeah, actually, both supports able to get away, so they will be able to use this Kitsune rush next fight, but hey, you hold on for 2 minutes, and they're not even at the hardest part of this map quite yet, so I would take that as a win here if you're the Golden Bears, and now they can continue to hold on to this corner, already able to start off the fight well.
Ooh, start off the fight great there for Kojo. I mean, that's the 3rd fight out of 4 fights. Kojo's been the first one to go down, and it's unfortunately just not the spot you want to be in, but Washington State, they're going to try to backpedal the spawn, recontest. A Bionade catches the line, and Annihilation form, not online, sorry, what is it called? Nemesis form, I always mix them up. Fury goes down, and Washington State moving forward once again. Forward to their own spawn, I guess. Maybe I should say moving backwards. It's Berkeley that's really starting to take that space.
Yeah, Berkeley just pushing up, and they haven't had to use a whole lot. They still have Annihilation, have that Kitsune rush if they want to pair it together, and Kiri does have the shut. If they can just wait out the shield, they know it's only up for a few seconds, and then it'll be gone for about 8 seconds. So a free shatter if they can line it up.
A free shatter online, like you said, that shield is incredibly predictable with a very long cooldown working against you. Another Blizzard comes out, this time from the side of Neon. Headshot onto Finn makes it easier for this team to come in, and already that Hanzo should be going down. Splashy Lime going to be moved out of the fight, and there's that purple hug once again. Kiri and Kojo falling. Autu making a lot of space for Berkeley. 30 seconds left. I think a full hold just over the horizon.
Yeah, they're able to just squeak this back. It's just Amani and O2 who are left, and they're just able to hold down the fort when the rest of the team is coming back without any healing whatsoever. And at this point, Petrichor is just trying to make sure they can actually get out. They will get out with Kojo, but that is worst case scenario if you're the Cougars. You start the fight on a 3-on-5 advantage and are not able to clean up the kills in time. And Finn still has his nano if they just want to give it to O2 to continue to test this point.
Nano comes up, the Shatter gets biffed, and Kiri does land the pin, but it hardly matters on a Nano to Ramatra like that. Amon catches a hammer into the back line there. Neon falls as well. A great shot from Lime. 0 seconds left. No ultimates in the arsenal from anybody. Someone's got to win this fight high and dry, and Berkeley currently has the numbers to do it. Magnate puts one down, but Petrichor catches that fist too close to home. Lucio goes down. I think finally there should be a turnaround, but unfortunately it's Kojo who finds the elim, or gets eliminated rather. Cyphox gets the Magnate and goes back to spawn for it. University of California, Berkeley, an incredible defensive hold to kick off this final best-of-3 series.
One of the weirdest defenses I think I've ever seen.
Certainly.
Yeah, I'm not used to seeing that in Circuit, especially when there's no poke at all. They just get held at that second corner under the bridge, and you see Berkeley, you know, it's very unorthodox on what they were running, but it threw Washington State off enough to where they're able to light up the kills. And as you said, it just seemed like, you know, Siphonix was the one getting taken out almost every single time at the beginning of those fights, and it just set the Cougars off on the wrong foot. But if you see Berkeley, hey, you can show that you don't need to always play Widow on this map, and you're still able to get the results.
Yeah, no, I have to agree. And I think I've got to point out as well that poor Kojo, you know, it felt like so many fights Kojo was the one to get taken down by a random headshot or an accidental arrow or whatever it was. Kojo just terrible place, terrible time over and over again. But maybe Washington State is going to be able to shake things up a little better here on the defense. I'll be honest, I'm not loving the look of the Rhine here on defense. He's a lot harder to work with so many high grounds to be offered. But perhaps they know something that we don't.
Yeah, maybe there's something lurking around that we just don't quite know yet, but I have a feeling, you know, they're just going for a full spawn hold, not holding on to the corner, holding on to the door, so a full Havana-esque hold, and I don't know if I like it or not, to be honest with you. It can be a little tricky here. I think if they held corner, it'd be a little bit better, but Cali, they don't even see it coming.
They don't see it coming in the slightest, because who the heck does this? I love the Havana hold coming out here. It's unconventional, it's quirky, it's weird. I'm only going to love it if it works, though, and it looks like it's not going to work too perfectly. Kojo will fall. They do get 0-2, but with that insane spawn advantage, I think it would do Washington well to probably back up or at least look for a couple more elims. They're splitting pretty aggressively, but it seems to be working as Kiri puts down a double kill, and all of a sudden, Kojo going down is not nearly as viable because they've already been able to find 3 eliminations. A bit of a stagger onto UC is going to stall them out. 30 seconds gone for the time being, Salty. I mean, it's working.
Weirdly enough, it is. It is quite weird. As you said, a very unorthodox hold. We thought like Berkeley Raid was unorthodox, and then this comes out of nowhere, and Kiri will get burned down to the Ravenous Vortex, and I think this might be the opening here for the Golden Bears to finally take control at this point.
I mean, hey, on the bright side, this is kind of the golden scenario for Washington State, because we talk about it's a good Havana hold if it lasts about a minute, and that lasts just barely over a minute. You've burned 25% of the time bank. Now, unfortunately, they've only got to make it, 75% of the way to the first point, and they win. So you've got to respawn quickly. I'd like to see a swap off the Rhine. I know we're definitely seeing sunken costs here. Oh, I'm 70 to shatter, but that doesn't matter. I think we need to be swapping on something a little more versatile, something a little faster, and something a little less bullet magnet-y. Holy guacamole is the word coming out of my mouth on that one, but Cyphox just gets deleted from the fight. A Bionade, an Immortality Field, gone and out. Tiny Overwatch keeps the Rhine alive, but it really feels like a delay of the inevitable. Doesn't matter, you were 70 to shatter if you can't find even 10 more percent where the map comes to a close. 3 turns to 1. Kojo goes down. It looks like Kiri and Petrichor not far behind in an any percent speedrun fashion. Looks like Berkeley is looking for success. Neon drops the blizzard of a lifetime, and even that is not going to be enough. Blink and you miss it. Circuit Royale comes to a close.
Cal able just to take over. We don't even see the majority of Circuit Royale, when the first time around we saw almost the entirety of it on the first push. And man, especially Slotchy Live, man, they were able to hit the shots all the time, and especially at the Kojo for whatever reason. They were to lock down the main support. Yeah, there you go. It's like they're not even looking at poor Kojo, and they get their head taken off. But they're able to line up the shots, and that's why Hanzo is creeping back into the meta a little bit with this one-shot potential. We saw it a lot during the Pro-Am qualifiers, and through the group stage. So I'm not overly surprised, especially on that map that we see it. But man, with the impact that it had, it just completely suffocated every single attack that the Cougars tried to do.
Yeah, and I've got to say, maybe the Septilin's hot take of the day is Hanzo's just a Junkrat where you pretend you're aiming, and I feel like Hanzo does kind of have that damage threshold capability of just pumping out as much damage as he can, spraying and praying with a bow and arrow, and it works very well as those arrows do a lot when they find a headshot. Now, a not-so-hot take is naturally how good Zip Chair Gaming is. And I'm not going to rip my chair apart anymore because I already fear it's going to fall apart underneath me. But I do, of course, want to give a big shout out to Zip Chair. The CECC Last Chance Qualifier is brought to you by Zip Chair and Dream Seat as the official gaming chair for the CECC. Head over to zipchair.com to elevate your gaming experience today, your gaming chair today as well. So a big shout out to Zip Chair for everything they do here at the CECC. We are very happy to have you along for the ride. But going into map number 2 here, it's going to be Push. And as I talked about earlier, there's almost a controversial situation to be in. It's like, okay, we get to pick the map. Yay, that's great. You got 3 choices.
Yeah, you don't got a lot to choose from, and I would say a lot of them play pretty similarly. I would say New Queen Street is kind of like the weird hybrid between the both, like similarities, and Esperanza, I would say more dive. Coliseo, definitely more rush. So it depends if you want to go definitively on one of those sides, or if you want to get a little creative, go in the middle. We've seen, Junker Queen at times, and a few other heroes as well. So I'm curious on what they want to run. I think it'll probably be Coliseo if I had to guess, because they were wanting to run the Rhine. Yeah, so I wouldn't be shocked, but even they can run the Ramatra on Coliseo and be completely fine. So you got to find a way to try and isolate them early. I think the May isn't a bad call, but you got to make sure you can actually get those walls down first, or if you're putting it down second, it actually nullifies the attack that Cal is trying to do, because a lot of those walls were just perfect setups.
And I've got to say, as a Ryan player way back in a different life, there's a circumstance in which Ryan was really good around season 2-ish of the game, and then Ramatra came out and Ram counters Ryan in a lot of really aggressive ways. So you can't really rely on the Reinhardt the way you used to of like, oh yeah, I'll just play Ryan because I'm good at Ryan. Ram cancels out a lot of what Ryan brings to the table. So does Orisa. So does Diva if you play her correctly. Like there's a lot of really dangerous situations to be in. And so we are getting a swap on the side of Cal here. Spidey going to be making an appearance in for, I assume, Kojo? Is that the name? Because it says something else. But anyway, we know Spidey's coming in for the side of Cal. This is exactly what we saw from Wichita earlier today. Wichita, I believe, the only team to make a substitution until right now. So it's not going to be that main 5 roster coming in on Esperanza, the map of choice. Esperanza.
Okay, yeah, and it's the flex support change. Kawani going out. So maybe instead of wanting the Kiriko, they're wanting more of the Baptiste would be my guess here for Cal. Just because it felt like Kawani was doing pretty decent on the Kiriko. I wouldn't say they went like above and beyond, but they did their job. And sometimes that's all you need your teammates to do is everybody does their job. And if that's the case, your game plan should be able to work. But I'm curious if the Spidey swap here is for a BAP or if they're running double main support for whatever reason. I doubt it, especially on Esperanza, but I don't know. I'm actually very curious to see what they want to run here. That it's like the Ana they want to play. I'm guessing it's just not Kiriko for Cal, which I would say maybe they're running something else in Ramatra, seeing that swap goes in because the Kiriko goes with the Ram pretty well.
Yeah, and it's not often you see a team make a swap when they're winning. I think that's really interesting as well.
Unless it's like something like comp-centric, like we want this person in to run this comp.
The only comp that I can think of is Redbird, who swap out Gig for Moving Fish pretty consistently back and forth. The two of them really kind of fight for the spotlight on that roster, so to speak. And I think that's really the only team I can think of where it's like, oh yeah, they definitely make swaps all the time. And seeing Spidey go in here instead is really fascinating. But we see the Lucio Moira right now from UC, and I'm
that's a little confusing.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it. I don't want to be too critical yet, but it's definitely weird.
Yeah, because we don't see Moira a lot, and it's also Spidey going on to the main support. So that's a little intriguing. Washington State will run the rush with the Ryan and the May and the Cassidy. This is what we expected them to run. UC Berkeley as well. Exactly what they ran over on Circle Realm, with the 2 exceptions being, Finn and Spidey on different roles.
The objective going to be opening up here, and it looks like Washington State really wants to slow things down. They're trying to play that Ryan again, as we talked about, kind of the reliance of Reinhardt in a moment like this. Autu could go down, especially as the supports have to double extend to get into that front line to keep them standing. I think the real play there is to kind of focus down the Ram until the supports extend forward and then take them apart. But unfortunately, it's Petricle that's the first one to catch an arrow to the brain. And Unfortunately, Lobotomy cuts a little too close to the center there, and Petrichor will go back down to the spawn room. 1 minute off the clock already, and this is a very slow burn equation. Even with Petrichor missing, I don't think Washington has fully lost it yet if they rotate out and try to go pick up that back.
Yes, but they will not be given that choice. Yep, Finn's able to get 2 with the orb, and that will be the fight win for Berkeley. Splotchy that entire time just plays on the flank, trying to send shots into the back line, able to break the shield as well, and just nobody from the Cougars able to answer, so they'll be able to gain control of this point first, and they almost already have a Dragon Strike. That's how many shots they're already hitting, and they can just nullify the push here towards Maiden and stall for more time.
That could be huge. Oh, the Maywall too. This poor Ryan, he's just caught between a rock and a hard place. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Kiri is going to fall, and we'll have to say goodbye to Washington's chances of winning that secondary fight, and that just buys California so much real estate.
Yeah, stuck between a cold place and some rock-hard fists, and yeah, it's not where they like to be. That is definitely not the ideal, as the tick already taken by the Golden Bears. The perfect start for them as one little Dragon Strike sets everything up, and they will also begin to gain progress, but O2 is a little caught off here in the high ground and forces co-op. This is also quite creative from Finn. I'm not sure what the game plan was there.
Yeah, got a lot of creativity going on here. I'm not fully sure what. Speaking of creativity, what the heck is going on? Amon throws it all the way up. The beat is dropped and nobody's in the circle because they had 25 minutes to get out of the way. Petrichor is still somehow going to be the first one to fall. When the purple hug opens up for O2, Koju does get away. Excuse me. Cujo is the dog. That's the name. Anyway, Washington State University is going to be able to find a 3K here, with Cyfonks really coming to life in a moment where they need somebody to open up and find that opportunity to strike. California losing a fight for the first time in a long time, but, I mean, really feeling good about their chances. 81 meters in 2 fights.
There's no way Finn gets out. There's no way. Finn was so deep and is able just to sneak on out, and the Moira play, different, I will say, but it's not been working with how aggressive they've been trying to be.
O2 finding Cyfonks, removing that power player from the fight, but, you know, a power player traded for a power player. Double elimination turns into a 3K in favor of University of California, Berkeley. Oh, Splotchy doesn't miss an arrow. Absolute maniac with the bow. Washington State University losing that fight. I mean, I don't even think California lost forward spawn. They've hardly ever lost an engagement. This could be the fastest series we've had all day.
Yeah, they did keep forward spawn, so yeah, the spot will hit for almost 100 meters already. And the one benefit is they don't have an ult, but the one downside is Cyphonics is already dead. Like, kind of looking at you. O2 gets out for now. Shatter is online. I think Kiri's just waiting for the perfect moment to strike.
Yeah, Kiri is definitely playing a patient game for the time being, and it's fascinating. This is really becoming kind of a slow burn game from Washington, but not like they wanted to, like they have to, because every time they show their faces, California just rips them apart. Finn going to be going for a damaged Moira on the high ground. The Dragons go out, the beat comes down, and still a 5v5 with Amon. Critical condition. O2 is actually the first to go down, and I bet they're saying now here that California lost that Ramatra. Wow, probably my worst joke of the night. Let's cut that one out of the pod. Anyway, Washington State University, they're going to go ahead and find that moment to strike, getting that Moira taking Coalescence offline, and Petrichor now gets traded. It's difficult, Salty, because every time California finds a pick, someone gets picked.
Yeah, Amon will now get taken. I think this is when you see her. Berkeley will just back out, yeah. Especially make sure you keep Splotchy alive at all costs, because no matter what the scenario is, they're able to win the fight, and they have to wait for Petrichor. So this just gives Berkeley even more time to regroup themselves, and Finn just has no fear. They're already contesting point.
Contesting point is exactly what needs to be done right now. 5 minutes on the clock, 120 meters to 0 from Washington State for the time being. This team, unfortunately, just cannot find their footing yet, but Gary's been sitting on this Shatter a lot longer than I ever would have liked them to. Has to left shift out of the fight and drops a very confusing Shatter.
That one hurts. I get the idea in concept.
Right,
like, you want to shatter O2 when they're in Annihilation, but there was no real follow-up. Like, there's no way for them to have any follow-up.
There wasn't even a fake follow-up.
Yeah, Spidey does die during that process, so they won't have the sound barrier for this fight, but still not a lot going right here for the Cougars.
It's a very personal blizzard onto Autu, completely boxed in by the entire roster of Washington State. But there's another good example. They find the most pivotal pick in the form of that Ramatra, and then immediately lose their Cassidy, lose the High Noon, and lose that free 150 damage or 125 damage Magnate. Finn exclusively doing damage so far. Petrichor is going to fall to that damage orb. And I mean, this is exactly how I play Moira, and I'm a diamond support, or I'm a master support now. You know, it's easier than it looks, and it looks pretty easy. But when you've got a team this dominant, and when you've got players that know exactly what they're doing, playing that DPS Moira can be incredibly rewarding to help your team get insane fight wins just like this. Now, I hate to say it, but I believe that brings the day of the last chance qualifier.
Almost done. Petrichor dies. It will be a last few kills here for the tally, but I have a feeling the results will be the same. As Finn, I admit, I didn't have Moira on my bingo card today for last chance qualifiers, but it does happen.
To a close. That is going to be Cal Esports winning in a 2-0 fashion there. University of California, Berkeley dominating in that semifinal, and they're going to be going up against, I'm going to hit refresh real quick and see if it's over. Let's take a look at this other bracket. Against... Just kidding, that series isn't done yet, so we don't know. But we do know that University of California, Berkeley is going to be meeting somebody in the Bracket 2 finals for a chance to go up against either Maryville or the Rutgers B Squad, making a bit of a dark horse run in this series so far.
Yes, I liked a little bit of underdog story in this, because nobody would have guessed Cal being in the top 4 entering day 2. And yes, you know, UC Irvine, if they do end up winning that series, I know that game is still going on. We kind of had that as an idea. Maryville, the same thing. But you also have Rutgers B also in this. So it's like, okay, it's getting a little interesting. But man, it just felt like it was Cal's game. And to be fair, you know, we said going in, okay, you know, it's a 6 versus the 7. No matter what, who wins this, and maybe a rough game tomorrow. Cal looked good. Like Cal looked really good during this, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is UC Irvine if they pushed him around. But if it is UCD and UCSD Navy, we could see Cal in the final, or UCSD Navy. Neither team we thought would be getting that far, but hey, that is just the craziness of last chance qualifiers.
That is why I love the last chance qualifier. And I've been biting my tongue so much today because I didn't want to sound like a broken record, but this is my favorite qualifier of the entire year because it is the best of the best of the best that weren't quite the best in their own qualifiers. And they all have to come here and duke it out. And it's so fun every year. And I'm so glad that we get to be a part of it. But folks, we're done being a part of it today. That was the last series we have for you. So thank you to all the teams that came out to this last chance qualifier. This is a chance for a shot at the largest esports collegiate event, and I think in the world, definitely in the country, but they definitely want to be a part of it, and we want to see them there as well. Thank you to Scoots, our in-game observer, Colton, our producer, and of course, all of you for watching. Check your posture, drink some water, don't forget to love each other, and we'll CECC you tomorrow. Mosey, those compliments of choosing Snake against Pac-Man, a great counter pick. They were super excited to see a Snake on the field, but even without their blessing, trollery does not yield.
But like you said, he's trying to play this safe because losing a stock right now for Concord would be really bad. And, well, a little bit of commentator's curse there. We kind of willed that one into existence. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. What?
Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, Septilence, how could that be all we got from weeks number 1 and 2? Please tell me there's more. If you like what you saw, you've got to go check out ECAC Esports on all social media platforms. Please see what they're bringing to the table. It is great collegiate esports week after week. On the bright side, folks, this is just the beginning. We've got the whole rest of what is guaranteed to be a great season ahead of us. Thank you so much for joining me for this recap, and I'll see you on the next one.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Collegiate Esport Commissioners Cup. I am Septilence, and I get a really neat opportunity here. We get to interview Burns from E United. Burns, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. We're on day 2 of the event. It's been a fantastic one. I ran into you yesterday, but we were running around like chickens with our heads off, and it has been, I mean, how has your time been here? What has this event kind of been like?
Yeah, it's great. I just love being in the passion pit, seeing all the college kids go at it. Reminds me of like an old school MLG event almost, but being like in an epicenter of the passion pit,
Yes.
seeing Rocket League, Valorant, Overwatch, and Smash, just it's amazing to see all of these schools compete against each other and get a shot to play on this main stage.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And tell us a little bit about kind of what is E United, right? Because we know that you're here, we know you're here to represent them, but for the people that don't know, what is E United?
Yeah, E United was founded in 2016. We're a professional esports organization. We've been in League of Legends, Overwatch, all the way to Battle Right, I think it was called back in the day. Right now in 2022, we are in Gears of War, Halo, Rocket League, PUBG, and announcing a new title tomorrow. I know, get the small intel here. So it's a lot of fun. I went pro in Call of Duty when I was younger. I ended up playing my last event under E United, switched in 2016, and I've been the GM ever since. So it's a true blessing to be able to stay with an organization for as long as I have, and we love giving back to the collegiate community. I actually graduated from Full Sail in 2013.
I was a little confused about the jersey. I was a little...
Yeah, so the Full Sail boys are out of the tournament, unfortunately, but I decided I would rep them today in their honor. Yeah, it's just great. I love working with younger individuals who are trying to find their path in esports, and these college kids are really showing what they're all about.
Yeah, so to be kind of an ex-pro player, where a collegiate scene at the time